All right, let's do this. Some history right here. First stream from Fargo and my first stream as a college graduate. You guys know the drill at this point. Say hello if you're in the chats. Yeah, it's just gonna be a nice chill stream tonight. It's gonna be watching some Rams and Saints, and then eventually I'll pull it up here in a little bit. We're gonna be doing the quarterback ranking quiz. I actually ended up doing this on my channel back in June. I want to say it's been a while, but I thought it'd be fun to go back to. One of my friends, one of the friends of the channel, Oscar, sent that in the group chat. I believe it was last weekend. I decided to hold off on doing it again until now because I thought it'd be fun to go back and revisit. We got Grace and Truth in here already. What's going on, Grace and Truth? Good to see you back in here. Hope you're having a good day. And, we got a big game coming up here on Sunday, don't we, huh? Vikings and Lions? One of the biggest games of the week. Maybe one of the biggest games of the year. A lot on the line there for our two teams. We'll see how that one goes in Minnesota, the winter whiteouts on Christmas Eve. But, yeah, that's just kind of the state of affairs right now. We've got 14 minutes until the game kicks off. Parker's in here. What's going on, Parker? Good to see you in here. Hope you're having a good day. And we got Gabe in here too at the Lightning game. Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram story. It says, go Knights. And Grace and Truth says, go Vikings. Shocking. But good to see you guys in here as always. Parker's saying he made some bets last night. Yeah, which ones did you end up making? Did you end up playing any for this game? I know we had discussed maybe Matthew Stafford or Kyron Williams. I don't know if that was with you or Caden, but I'm curious if you got any slips for tonight. We'll see if it's a good day in the underdog balance or not. I do have $10 in my prize picks balance. I don't think I'm going to play today. I got burned by Odell on Sunday. Me and Oscar, we had a good bet going. It was 3 legs. I just put 10 down on it. Oh, tough loss. But yeah, let me know your slip. I got to say it's weird being in the central time zone for football. Now, my take has always been that's the best time zone for football, right? You get to start an hour earlier. You start at noon, and then the primetime games get done at a little bit more of a reasonable hour. So it's kind of nice. It's 7:02. The game is about to start. We're chilling right now. Gabe says, go Rams. Need them to go sicko mode. Grace and Truth says, go Rams as well. And I'm going to third that. Let's go Rams. I mean, you guys know this at this point, right? The Rams are the team of Dr. Pigskin. I've been riding with them the whole season. I just love Sean McVay so much. I'm sure you guys probably like the Rams for Matthew Stafford. And, well, also, a Rams win would also help the Buccaneers. That's probably the main reason why, actually. So that makes more sense. But this is a big game, Man, it broke my heart. The NFL Instagram posted just like a graphic for the game, right? Just like when the game is going to be and stuff. They do that for like all the primetime games. And the Instagram casuals were killing me. They're all saying like, oh, this is a mid-off. This is such a boring game. We're not going to watch it. It's like, man, I don't know. This is a big game for both these teams. Both these teams are fighting for seeding in the NFC, right? They're showing right now on the screen, if you're watching it, Rams currently hold the 7 seed, and the Saints are right there too. And yeah. So we'll see, man. It should be a good game. Hopefully. I don't know. I think the Rams might run away with it, but we'll see. The Rams have been playing some really good football, and we can dive more into that here as the game gets going. We got Caden in here saying, oh, wow, that's a lot of doctor. And I'm curious, is that a reference to my Twitter post with the goated setup? If you haven't seen it yet, you should go check it out on Twitter. Shout out my dad, honestly. As you guys obviously can tell, this is not my normal spot. I'm here in Fargo, here in my old childhood bedroom, which my dad has since turned into his office when he works from home. And this man has got like his own monitor. He's got a ring light and a webcam. And I've got one of my laptops to my right. Well, I have one laptop. I've got my laptop to my right. And that's got, I'll just show you. That's got this on here, right? So I was smart and I cut off the bottom part of the game cast so we wouldn't see like Puka Nakua 20-yard catch like 4 seconds before it happens. But you can still see the score and kind of follow along a little bit. And then we've got the QB ranking quiz that we're going to be dabbling in a little bit. So that's going to be fun too. I'm excited to do this. I went back and watched my stream from June when I did this, and I was doing like the Drewski meme a lot. I was doing this. I was like, I was kind of spot on with some of my takes in that stream. So we'll see how it changes now. I've not done this since then, so I'm curious to see how it shakes out. And I haven't done like any sort of like top 10 or anything recently. So I'm curious. I've said that like 8 times now, but Cindy says hi. Well, tell Cindy I say hi back. Hope she's having a good day and hope she's ready for the holidays. Good to hear the Wieland family supports me as always. But yeah, shoot. I mean, we could preview this game here real quick. Let's oh, not that. So this is gonna sound like a flex. I've just got so many monitors right now. I don't know where to click or anything. But let's preview this game here real quick before we really dive in. So we'll be going back and forth. I'll be watching this game. I've got it up to my left. If it gets interesting, we'll really lock in, and we'll be making comments here or there. But we'll be doing the quiz as well. I just really wanted to do it on stream, and yeah, we're gonna get a little crazy with it. But Rams are 4-point favorites. I can see that. Saints are coming off a big win, man. They kind of needed it. They are fighting for a playoff spot. They had that 3-game losing streak. Things looked bleak, to say the least. Derek Carr's getting booed by his own fans, and people are questioning Dennis Allen, and, this team, they're just settling for purgatory. What are they doing? 2 big wins. Granted, the Panthers and the Giants, right? Maybe not exactly a gauntlet. But they took care of business, and their offense actually looked competent, and their defense looked really good, which is kind of the backbone of this team. It's been the backbone of this team for a while. That's a big reason why they brought in not Sean Payton. Why they brought in Dennis Allen. He was a defensive coordinator under Sean Payton that kind of stabilized things a little bit. And I think they sacked Tommy DeVito, was it 7 times on Sunday? I mean, the pass rush was getting after it. They do have some players on defense. I mean, this is a solid defense. Demario Davis had a vintage game. He just seems to not age, He still is one of the best linebackers in the league, which is crazy because he's been playing for a minute now. And maybe he's lost a step, but mentally he's as good as ever. I mean, he's a player I'm looking forward to watching today, seeing him try and crack the code of this Sean McVay offense. Which, speaking of Sean McVay offense, fun announcement coming soon. We'll get to that here in a sec. But 9 sacks. It was even more. It was more than 7. They sacked him 9 times. So pass rush really got home for the Saints. Defense did their job. Again, it's the Giants. It's Tommy DeVito. But if you're New Orleans, that's encouraging. Your defense has been playing lights out the past few weeks. And you need to stack up these wins because they're technically not leading the division based off tiebreakers. So they kind of need to win this game. And looking at the rest of their schedule, I mean, these are all huge games. Every game is a big game at this point, but at Rams, probably the toughest one. Then you've got at Buccaneers, which, oh, baby, that is a big one too. That might be one of the biggest games of the year, honestly, as far as playoff implications go. That could decide the winner of the NFC South. And then versus Falcons, who are still in it, very much so, even with all the madness that they've gone through with the toddler behind the wheel of the Ferrari. So, they don't need this one, but man, it would be nice. I'll say that. The Rams honestly probably need this one more, which is crazy because I think of them so much more highly than the Saints. I think that the Rams are just such a better team. I honestly think the Rams, here's a spicy take. Here's a very spicy take. I might call the Rams, okay. I don't know if I'll straight up call them the 3rd best team in the NFC, but you could talk me into it. I don't think there are very many teams in the NFL playing better than the Rams right now. I mean, oh my goodness. They did kind of scrape one out against the Commanders, although the Commanders made that close late when Brissett came in, but they were able to close that one out on the ground. They lost a tight one to the Ravens. I mean, that game could have gone either way, right? Ravens are one of the best teams in the NFL. They're going on the road, crappy weather, and it goes to OT. I mean, it comes down to a punt return. That was about as even of a game as you could get. They really take care of business against the Browns, who have a great defense. I mean, they've been winning a lot recently. They are red hot right now. A lot has changed since Stafford came back into the lineup. You know, they had this stretch right here. Stafford gets hurt. They get blown out. And even me, Mr. Rams cheerleader, is kind of like, oh, okay. Well, that was fun, but not going to happen. Nah, they're right back in it. And they're in the 7 seed right now. But if you look at the standings and just the remainder of their schedule, this game is a big game because the winner will get head-to-head advantage, which is the ultimate tiebreaker. Right? If they win this game, they probably get the inside track for a wild card. Then they've got the Giants, but then they got the Niners. So we'll see how much this game matters. Maybe the Niners will have the 1 seed locked up by then. Who knows? But if the Niners have to play, I mean, as much as I like the Rams, I'm taking the 49ers over them. So you kind of got to have it here. It's in LA. Shohei is in the house. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I'm picking the Rams, though. I mean, let's be honest. I think we all knew this was coming, right? I'm rocking with the Rams in this game. I mean, I'm going to hope to see some points here from LA again. Matthew Stafford has been playing some excellent football right now. The running game with Kyren Williams has been killer. Give me Rams 31, Saints 17. That's a lot of points, I know, in the year 2023, but I think they can do it, man. But we'll see. 4 minutes till kickoff. We'll minimize this a little bit here. We'll get started on the quiz soon. We won't jump in right away, but oh yeah, look at that. Got the perfect spot right here. But how's everyone doing? You guys excited for holidays? And, you know, you've got important NFL games coming up. Monday night is going to be a good one. Christmas Day, Niners, Ravens. I'm going to try and watch that one if I've got nothing else going on. We'll see. Maybe I'll be like, hey, Grandma, can you turn on Niners, Ravens, please? I mean, Vikings, Lions. That was another game we just talked about. Oh, what are you guys looking forward to here in chat? Let's pull up the other games while we have some time here. Just kind of killing time before the games start. Oh boy, Bills, Chargers, 50-0 maybe. Yikes. We'll see how the Chargers respond with their new coach. I guess that'll be somewhat interesting. We'll see if the Bills can keep it up after just taking it to the Cowboys. Hey, that Bills Super Bowl pick I made preseason, not dead yet. We've got 2 Saturday games. The Bengals on Saturday again. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about what happened last time the Bengals played on Saturday. No, thank you. Broke my heart. Hurt my feelings. That was so tough. Browns-Texans is a big one. Houston's kind of fighting for their playoff lives too. The Browns got a big win against the Bears. Just barely escaped. I don't know if y'all saw, but Chicago almost had that Hail Mary. It like dropped right into Mooney's hands and he couldn't catch it. This game means like nothing. Seahawks off a big win against the Eagles. Need to keep winning. Ooh. Colts Falcons. Sneaky big game. Packers need to win against the Panthers. We talked about Lions, Vikings. It's a solid slate. Jags, Bucks, that's a big one. The Florida Bowl. 2 of the 3 Florida teams facing off. This one doesn't mean a whole lot. Maybe for draft positioning, I guess, but it's not like either team is going to try and lose. Oh, that's right. I forgot about this one. Okay, now this is the game of the week. Sorry. I forgot about that. Cowboys, Dolphins. That's a big one. And then we've got Patriots, Broncos. Oh, doesn't hit the same as it did back in the 2010s with Peyton and Brady, does it? Raiders, Chiefs. All right, so yeah, we got a solid slate. All right, I think we're about to get started here. Thank goodness. I've been just kind of honking for a little bit now. But got the Prime Vision pulled up. As always, you guys know the vibes. We'll see. I might hold off on the QB quiz and make that be its own stream because that deserves its own platform. Maybe that's what I'll do. We'll see. We'll see how this game goes. I'll watch this game for a little bit and then maybe the vibes change a little bit, but It is also extremely hot in here right now. I don't have the fan on. I'm going to go change that real quick. I'll be right back. Don't want it to be on too high because then the microphone might pick it up. And y'all definitely saw me turn off my lights on accident there. But what can you do, you know? Man, I always think that Kyron Williams is a rookie. He's not. They're showing Puka and Kyron right now. I think Kyron Williams got drafted last year out of Notre Dame. Just another shining example of how the Rams have kind of made things work even without their first round picks because they just go get Kyron Williams and Puka Nakua on day 2 instead. You know, when you draft that well in the later rounds, you can turn your first round picks into superstars. Honestly, I wouldn't fault them for like this offseason, like trading their first rounder again. Why not? I don't know who they'd go get, but it's so funny. We all like clown the Rams like, why would you even think about trading for Brian Burns, you know? And yet, like, man, this team would be nice with Brian Burns right now, wouldn't it? I wonder if they could go back, they probably would have done it, to be honest. I don't know. Also, I might just keep it full screen like this. Oh, that's right. This right here, because one, it's on Prime, so there's not as much of a delay as there is for YouTube TV. And two, like when I'm watching the game, I am turning my head a little bit, and then I've got my big monitor, which has chat, and then it has OBS up, so I can't really see what's happening on like the computer screen as much. And it is actually, the broadcast itself is ahead, so I'm gonna keep it like this. I'm gonna move it a little bit closer so it's easier for me to see. I don't want my mic to pick up too much of the broadcast because copyright, even though these streams are demonetized, I don't want to have the shadowy league figures, as they say on the Around the NFL podcast. I don't want the shadowy league figures pulling up at my house. But first play, quick little 2-yard run for Kamara. Now a quick release to Olave. First down. Taking the easy stuff right there. There's not been a ton of easy stuff this year for the Saints on offense, but that's encouraging to see right there. Olave is a guy who's been very up and down this year, and I would know as a Chris Olave fantasy manager. As we got CB in here. Welcome to the stream, CB. Good to see you in here as always. We're live from Fargo. Moved out of my old apartment in Athens yesterday, actually, which is crazy because it was so early in the morning. Yesterday feels like so long ago, but I graduated college last week and hung around in Athens for a few more days, packed up all my stuff, moved out yesterday, flew back home, and now I'm here in Fargo in my old childhood bedroom with my dad's work from home setup. That's why it looks a little different. I've got like a ring light and stuff. It's pretty fancy, you know? I think after experiencing this, I've decided I do want to invest in like a ring light and a webcam of my own because this is pretty sweet. Maybe get my own monitor or something too. I mean, it's going to cost a lot of money, so I'll have to save up some, but whew, this is nice, not going to lie. 2nd and 1 now here. Taysom Hill is in the game. First down. You know what? Shout out Taysom Hill for surviving or outlasting Sean Payton in New Orleans. Everyone joked that like Taysom Hill was Sean Payton's long lost son or something like that, and that's why they paid him so much money and like kept him in the game and stuff like that. But Sean Payton has been gone for a few years now, and Taysom Hill is still very much a relevant factor on this Saints team, and low-key having like one of the best years of his career. He's actually been pretty good this year. He's been a very important piece on this offense. Carr's in trouble. Finds Olave again. Man, the Saints are kind of moving the ball right now. Olave, a couple of big catches. That is probably the biggest question mark surrounding this Rams team is their defense. And it's not bad, which is shocking if you go look at like the depth chart. But they're not like a bad defense, but they're maybe below average. They're a slightly below average unit. Like if I had to rank them, I'd put them at like 18 or something for defense. They do have a few impact players. They've got some good rookies, right? They still got Aaron Donald, who's had a nice bounce back year. Not like prime Aaron Donald getting 20 sacks as a defensive tackle, but still very much a game wrecker. well coached under Raheem Morris, who is a head coaching candidate again, which I can respect. But right now, you're kind of seeing them. They got hit for a few big plays early. The Saints passing attack coming out firing. Derek Carr maybe coming off his best game, playing with some confidence right now. And you know what? Good for him. That man has been through the ringer this year. Saints fans do not like him. Oh, that one was through his hands, I think. Looking for Juwan Johnson there, the TikToker. Kind of. He is married to a TikToker. That's better from the Rams, though. There's Aaron Donald right there. Look at that. Right on cue. That'll go down as a pressure, probably. Getting in the backfield, disrupting the play. The fact that you can get that pretty consistently from the interior is just such a boost. And he's still so good against the run. I mean, make no mistake, Aaron Donald is still elite, you know. He just doesn't have, like... He's not, like, putting together the greatest season of all time anymore. And they're going to get to him. Down goes Carr. I couldn't see who got the sack there. It was Jones. Is that Ernest Jones? Came on strong in their Super Bowl run. Has kind of taken over the linebacking unit for the Rams. Nice little blitz. Oh, yeah, he just destroys the back. Is that Jamal Williams? Did not have a chance. Big sack for the Rams there. Their pressure comes through when they need it. Stall the drive out. And the Saints will punt it with their tatted punter. That is the most tattoos I've ever seen on a special teams player ever. You have to punt from like midfield. We'll see if he can get it up high in the air. Pin him back at the 5. All right, let's see Matthew Stafford go to work. This is what we came here for, right? Let's see this offense go to work. You know, these streams, they've kind of been the praise Dak Prescott show recently, right? And rightfully so, because he's had a great year. And I just feel vindicated seeing him play well. And you know what? We'll take the L, right? That Bills game was tough. The Bills just overmatched the Cowboys. The Bills defense was everywhere. The Cowboys didn't do really anything on offense. You know, it's a tough loss for the Cowboys. Tough loss for the Dak MVP agenda. Now, I'm not going to advocate this player for MVP, but Matthew Stafford is playing like a top 5 quarterback right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys have not had the chance to tune into Matthew Stafford this season or tune into the Rams, feast your eyes tonight because it has been fun. The off-platform throws, the weird arm angles are back. He's taking shots deep down the field. I mean, he looks as good as ever. He's playing maybe the best football of his career the past month and a half. As we've got Mile Marker in here saying hello there. Come on, Saints. All right, so we've got someone rooting for the Saints now in here. I guess I'm trying to think, would that help the Lions if the Saints won? Or is it just a personal preference? I'm curious, Mile Marker. What is your reasoning for rooting for the Saints here? Both teams are 7-7. I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal preference. My personal preference is the Rams, of course, as we know. But, you know, I used to despise the Saints back when they had Sean Payton. Oh, man. I mean, there's a history between the Vikings and the Saints, right? Bountygate, Eric's first ever heartbreak with the Vikings. I mean, you know, talk about baptism by fire. And, I mean, let's just say this. These two teams played, was it 5 years ago? 5 years ago at this point in the NFC Championship game. And it was a memorable game. I thoroughly enjoyed that game back then. I have nothing against the Saints now. Sean Payton is gone. This is just a completely different team. But I don't know. As a Vikings fan, I thought that Saints-Rams ending in 2018 was one of the greatest things ever. And what goes around comes around for Sean Payton. Mile Marker says, okay, so don't want to play Stafford in the playoffs. I don't know that anyone does right now, to be honest. I tell you what, man, like, I don't think the Eagles would want to play him either, right? Because if the Rams get in, that's probably who they'd play, is either the Lions or the Eagles. I don't think either team wants to face red-hot Stafford right now. And this running game, which is not getting talked about as much. Shout out Pearchamp, one of the friends of the channel. He's got Kyren Williams on his fantasy squad, so he knows. But Kyren Williams is like 3rd in the league in rushing yards, and he missed a lot of time. He's been going off, and right on cue, first play, run for Kyren Williams. He's been a monster. The Rams have completely reinvented the way that they've run the ball. They've gone not completely away, but it's a lot less of a zone scheme. And I believe, and forgive me, I have trouble telling the two apart sometimes. I'm still a newbie when it comes to offensive lineman blocking scheme. I've been more well versed in zone blocking now. I want to say it's gap scheme that they run a lot more now, which is not normal for Sean McVay, but it has worked like a charm. And wow, Tyler Higbee is wide open. That is a layup for a big first down. And CB asks, streaming the game on Christmas Eve as well? I am questionable for that. I'm not sure what exactly I've got as far as plans for Christmas Eve. I'm going to be all over the place here over like this next week when I'm home for the holidays, but I don't know yet. That might be intriguing though. Maybe if I go live Sunday morning, because Christmas Eve is on a Sunday, maybe do a little pigskin pregame action, because yeah, the slate is pretty good. So we'll see. You have to keep your eyes peeled on the YouTube community posts. All right, pitch to Kyren. Nice little cut. I mean, it's not even just the scheme. A lot of it is just Kyren Williams being really good. That was a nice job by Kyren to get a few extra yards right there. And they're talking about the Rams' motion usage right now, too. It said it was the highest that it's ever been under Sean McVay. Interesting. It's like 70%. I mean, that is the staple of this offense. Mile marker asking, how is Fargo? Full of holiday cheer? Absolutely. We got the Christmas tree up downstairs. We've got the Christmas lights around the house. Shockingly, not really any snow on the ground right now, and it's been fairly warm, actually. It's supposed to be like in the 40s for most of the time that I'm here, which is very surprising. Stafford is going to rip one incomplete, looking for Kupp. But, oh yeah, it always is. It always is. You know, we've got the decorations around the house. It is kind of weird to think that Christmas is so soon, because I think my mind has just been so fixated on graduation, you know? But, I mean, shoot, it's the 21st, like 4 days away, you know? But, yeah, it is good to be home, I will say that. Big third down here for the Rams. Prime Vision highlighting potential blitzers. They're going to stack 3 receivers to one side. 5 wide here. Puka in motion. What do they have cooked up here? Stafford has time. There's Puka. Oh, he breaks the tackle. First down and more. Man, Puka Nacua has kind of been a beast after the catch. And he's like a bigger guy. He's tough to bring down. It's so funny when Puka Nacua first broke out, like first quarter of the season, right? Everyone's like, oh, like this is just Sean McVay voodoo magic. He just can scheme anyone open. Cooper Kupp's season is fake, you know? And yes, some of it you can chalk up to the coaching and the scheme, but Puka Nacua is just a really good player. He makes all the catches. He has an insane catch radius. He's great after the catch. He knows how to get open. I mean, just what a find for them. There's Kyren again. That's like 5 yards right there. But you'd be hard-pressed to find many wide receiver duos that are playing better than Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp right now. Kupp has kind of gotten his sea legs back a little bit. He's been in and out of the lineup, injured. Maybe took a while to adjust to get back to speed. But past few weeks, Cooper Kupp has been looking like the Cooper Kupp we all know and love. Some monster games recently. Graduation, to answer your question, mile marker, actually already happened. I graduated from journalism school last Thursday, and then my undergrad graduation was on Friday. So we got that done. I was fortunate enough to have a lot of family come out to Athens to come celebrate with me, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, you were talking to a college grad now. It is it's hard to believe, but it's very exciting. Definitely excited for the next step, next chapter. So yeah, first stream as an alum. What can you say, right? There's a big hitter right there to Robinson. Is that It is DeMarcus Robinson. I had to cheat and look at my computer there, but yeah, this is a very deep wide receiver room, and I don't know if Tutu Atwell is hurt or not right now. I haven't really seen him out there yet, but he's kind of been good too. Another first down for the Rams. Stafford's going to rip it. Ooh, that one was almost picked, but a good catch by Kupp. Man, he got it there. That's a tough throw to make going to the far side of the field. Right? Across the field, a lot of those high school quarterbacks get coached against doing something like that. Quick little motion into the slot for Kupp. Stagger him with Robinson. Beats him on his route. Tough throw, tight window. Just gets it past the DB, Alontae Taylor. Solid job by Taylor. I mean, it was a tough spot because you can use that boundary as an extra defender too, but good throw and catch. That connection, man. It's just, there's a reason I like this team, and it's just, they're fun to watch. I will always have a soft spot for the Sean McVay Rams. When it's all said and done, right, 20 years from now when we're looking back, this will have been one of my favorite teams of this era of football. The quarterback play, the coaching, good, underrated defensive play. Not as much this year, but in years past. Just a fun era of Rams football. Thank you, Mile Marker. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Penalty there on the Rams, so that'll set them back 5 yards, but they're still in the red zone. They're chilling. They'll probably get points out of this drive. You know, disasters happen, but end around to Kupp. What a play. Oh my goodness. Who was that? Is that Pete Werner? Oh my goodness. Stayed home and boom, just right there. Coming off the edge. He saw it the whole way. There is not a Ram there to block him. He was not fooled one bit. Now it's 2nd and 18. And this has been a long drive for the Rams. To get down this far, you want to punch it in the end zone here. Especially with how the Saints were kind of moving the ball on the first drive. Right, and you want to press Shohei. Kyron's going to get a lot of those yards back. He's still going. Oh, man. This is a Kyren Williams game again. He had 3 for 16 before that carry. He's going to be up, like, that's a 10-yard run they're going to call it. 26 rushing yards on the first drive for Kyren. Man, oh, maybe I should have bet on this game. Oh, well. What can you do? 3rd and 8, though. Okay, so they didn't get as many of those yards back as I thought, but still, 3rd and 8 to get back in front of the original line of scrimmage after 2nd and 18 on a run play. Stafford with time again. Oh, I saw the vision there. They're going to get a flag for that. Yep. Pete Werner, who just made a great play on the end around, grabbed Kyren Williams. Dennis Allen is going like this, saying it's uncatchable. I don't know, man. I think Kyren might have ran that down. I saw the vision. Stafford was trying to put it in the back of the end zone there. I think that actually did impact the play. Yeah, he like wraps him up. Yeah, you can't do that. I don't think it was uncatchable. I think he might have ran that one down if he didn't do that. That might have been a touchdown. It was out of bounds. I don't know. It did bounce on that white chalk, but fresh set of chains for the Rams here. Now there's another McVay staple, right? They run the end around to Cooper Kupp there. A few plays before on this drive. They'll show you something. Then they'll show you something similar to it. They sent Kupp in motion again, a little jet motion. Same kind of thing you do on an end around, but they just run it up the middle this time. We got James in here. Welcome to the stream, James. Says, hey, Eric, how's Fargo, buddy? It's great, man. I got back yesterday around 7 or 8 o'clock. Nice, easy little flight. Had to pack up a lot in my suitcase, but it's good. It's good to be back. Warmer than I expected. Not a lot of snow on the ground, but good to be back with family and friends, and hope you're doing well, too. Good to see you in here. Pear Champ is in here, too, saying, how's it going, doctor? It's going good. Welcome to the stream, Pear Champ. And you know what? I hope you started Kyren Williams today in fantasy because he's going off right now. He is having a game. 3rd and goal. They might not give it to him now. It's probably a passing down, but 29 yards on the first drive. Not bad, eh? Talk about like waiver wire hero, Kyren Williams. He is back there. They'll probably throw, though. I think this one's going to Kupp. Yep. Oh, my... No, he dropped it. Oh, he ruined my Tony Romo moment. Oh, it was there. Maybe the throw could have been slightly better. But they just sent Cup on a little out route right there. He was there. It was open. He just couldn't catch it. That should have been a touchdown. Maybe just a hair too far, but Cooper Kupp should normally catch that ball. And it looks like they're going to go for it. They are huddled up here. So I said, hopefully they get points, right? Assume they get points. I mean, man, the analytics say to go for it here. Right? They only need a few yards. Normally, I'm in favor of going for it. I don't know. I might have thought about taking the points here. Are they going to go back to Cup? Nope. Puka, touchdown. Touchdown, Rams. And what do I know? You just get a few yards and you get the touchdown. 14 plays, 95 yards. After a great punt by the Saints to back them up, the Rams are on the board and it is rocking in SoFi, kind of. It's as rocking as it can possibly be in SoFi. I'm mean to LA fans sometimes. I recognize that, but touchdown Puka, great drive for the Rams. Nice mix of run and pass. That has been the staple of this team for the past month, really. Kyren Williams and Matthew Stafford cooking. This team can score with anyone. Watch out for the Rams, man. I'm telling you. This is a take I will stand on. This team is winning a playoff game. If they get in, they are winning a playoff game. I honestly think if they played either the Eagles or the Lions, I would pick them to win. And that's probably who they'd face. CB says, graduating from journalism, what's your opinion on where to find solid journalism or investigative journalism? Oh, man. That is a great question. And I'll admit, this is going to sound bad as a journalism student. I don't read a ton of news necessarily. I read a lot of sports stuff. If you want some good sports journalism, if you want some good writing, I really like The Athletic. I mean, they just have so many writers. They have a writer for every team. They have writers for every league. I think they do a really good job. They kind of let their writers think outside the box, be a little bit more creative. It's not just confined to like, oh, the Rams beat the Saints 31-20 today, but that would be my recommendation. I don't know if you're an Athletic reader or not. Now, you do have to pay. It's fairly cheap, but you do have to subscribe, but it's worth it. I enjoy reading The Athletic. That would be my recommendation. As far as like real big boy journalism, ask me again in a few years when I mature a little bit more and I start reading the news a little bit more. Investigative journalism, though, I mean, it's intriguing. I could always respect it, right? And I mean, we need it, I have the utmost respect for like real top of the line news journalists. It's a hard job, man. It really is. Pearchamp also says, I lost my fantasy playoff last week. I had Dalton Kincaid as my tight end and Gabe Davis as wide receiver too, who both got 0 points. Lost by 18. Unfortunate, but first year in fantasy football. Hey, not bad. You made the playoffs first year in fantasy football. Give it up for Pearchamp, everyone. That's a heck of a season right there. I tell you what, you probably did better than I did in most of my leagues. I'm kind of plodding along in some of them. I've been eliminated in a few. There's a few that I'm putting up a good fight in, but all right. Tough about the Bills passing game, though. If I would have told you, like, oh, the Bills would hang 30 on the Cowboys, you'd think, ooh, all right. Surely Kincaid or Gabe Davis is going to go off, or they'll combine for 18 points, right? But, oh, the Bills just ran the ball, and they ran the ball, and they ran the ball. Tough for fantasy, but good for real-life football. That is a very encouraging win for the Bills. Very, very encouraging. Caden says, this is Eric. He's snarky. I can be snarky sometimes. I was snarky on Saturday after the Vikings lost. I'll tell you that, man. Oh, what a crushing loss. But you know what? We're still in it. We're still in it. You cannot keep the Vikings out just yet, can you? Mom Marker says, I'd say BBC. Well, maybe you have to start reading BBC more. The British Broadcasting Corporation. And CB says, maybe your first story can investigate why Joe Barry hasn't been fired yet. So true, man. Hey, I can empathize with that as someone that had to suffer through Ed Donatel last year. Oh my goodness. I feel your pain 100%. It is truly incredible how much the Packers defense is underachieving because of Joe Barry. And it's starting to hurt the team. I mean, Baker Mayfield made history on Sunday. First opposing quarterback ever to come into Lambeau Field and post a perfect passer rating. Think about how old Lambeau Field is. And no opposing quarterback had ever posted a perfect passer rating in Lambeau until Sunday. Joe Barry, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, they let Tommy DeVito go on a game-winning drive. Mamma mia. Oh, tough. Now, selfishly, sure helps the Vikings, but it's still all going to come down to the Vikings-Packers Sunday night game. Oh, on New Year's Eve, that game is going to mean everything. That might be a playoff decider right there. We'll see. We'll see how the Packers fare against the Panthers. They should take care of business. Parachamp saying Joe got to go. Yeah, I'm shocked he survived last season, to be honest, because I didn't watch like a ton of the Packers, but just from what I watched and what I observed, like it was the same problems last year too, but it wasn't as big of a national story, I should say. A lot of Packers fans are still upset, but it wasn't as big nationally because the thing with the Packers was, oh, is this Aaron Rodgers last year? Like that was the conversation around the Packers. Whereas now, like everything is going fairly swimmingly. The offense looks good. The defense has talented players, and yet they're 6-8. They should no hopes right now. Hey, how about the scrappy Panthers getting a win? Love is good though, at least he is. No, Love looks legit, and what I mean by legit is that he's earned the right to be the starter there for a while. Probably he's looked pretty good, and the wide receivers and the tight ends, I think maybe we should give a slight little golf clap, a little round of applause to the Packers front office for doing a pretty good job in the draft, getting some playmakers. Tucker Kraft, Jaden Reed, what's his name? I mean, Malik Heath. I don't know if they drafted him this year or not, but they've got a lot of good young weapons right now, and maybe no superstars, but it's a good group. They have been exceeding expectations, and they've done this all without arguably their best skill player, Aaron Jones, for most of the year. And we're still waiting on some more consistency from Christian Watson, but I see the vision with the Packers a little bit, which we know I have some interesting takes about the Packers and how I maybe dislike them not as much as the average Vikings fan, but also don't get too good. I like the Packers when they're like hanging around the playoff race and they're fun to watch. Nah, I kid. I mean, iron sharpens iron, right? When the Vikings beat the Packers when they had Rodgers, it felt like we beat Superman. Like the few times that it happened, I immediately think of 2015, final game of the regular season, Sunday night, week 17, Vikings-Packers, winner wins the division, and it was a cold, low-scoring game back when we had Teddy and we won. It felt like we beat Superman. It was crazy. Parachamp says, we have some potential star players on the Packers defense that can make plays, but play calls hurt, leaving the defense being mid overall or even below average. Yeah, I mean, it's just been so inconsistent. And it's troubling. This is not even Baker Mayfield disrespect because he's had a good year, but you cannot let Baker Mayfield and Tommy DeVito, you cannot let those type of quarterbacks eviscerate you. They cannot be the reason you lose. When you're playing the Bucs at home, the Bucs going from sunny Tampa to Green Bay in December, they should not be beating you by passing the ball. Tommy DeVito should not be looking good. I mean, look at what the Saints did to him, So, I totally understand all the frustrations with Joe Barry. I like how this has turned into like a Joe Barry vent line. How long has he been there, man? I mean, has he been there a while? They had Mike Pettin for a little bit, didn't they? But I don't know. Where is his coaching history? Here we go. Okay, so he came on in 2021 as their defensive coordinator. And they were a good defense that year, were they not? Yeah, because that was the year they were the top seed. Their defense was pretty good that year. 13th in points against. And this team, honestly, man, they were so good that year. Just the whole team. But you got like Jair Alexander, Devondre Campbell, his all-pro season, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, Eric Stokes, his rookie year, Rasul Douglas. I mean, this was a squad. But it's just been, defensively, it's just been downhill since. And, okay, so he's with the Rams for a little bit. Washington, the Chargers. He seems to stick around those McVay-Shanahan tree guys, which seems to be a trope, honestly. Like the Shanahan tree coaches, outside of Kyle Shanahan, they seem to love their Vic Fangio tree defensive coaches, right? Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings had Ed Donatel. That was the guy he handpicked to bring aboard when he got hired. He was a Fangio-style guy. Joe Barry's a Fangio-style guy, and Matt LaFleur is a Shanahan guy. McVay has had Vic Fangio himself. Raheem Morris is actually, I don't know that much about Raheem Morris. I'm not gonna assume that Raheem Morris is a Fangio style guy. Maybe he's not, but for as good as the Fangio defense has been in recent years, right? It's usually not run as well unless it's Vic Fangio himself calling the defense. His disciples, his coaching tree haven't fared as well. Guys like Ed Donatel and Joe Barry. Vic Fangio's in Miami right now with Mike McDaniel, who's a Shanahan guy. So there's an interesting overlap between them. And also thank you, Mile Marker. Appreciate it. Get to CB's comment here in a sec. As Kamara gets away. The Saints are moving the ball again. They've not had issue moving the ball so far. That touchdown, getting a touchdown for the Rams was big. Because, I don't know, the Saints might be bound to get some points here. We'll see how this third down goes, but CB says it'd be different if we didn't beat the Lions and Chiefs the weeks previously. Shake my head. Yeah, I understand, like, it's got to be tough coming off such thrilling wins, right, against good teams, and you think, man, we're back already. We didn't even need a year to rebuild. No Rodgers, no problem. We are back. Jordan Love looks great. But it's been a sobering reality check these past 2 weeks. But they're still in it, right? I mean, they still more or less control their own destiny. They win out, they're probably in. And they got a nice game against the Panthers. Every game against the Panthers is a nice game, unless you're Arthur Smith. Sorry to any Falcons fans that might be watching this, but you want to talk about a coach that's got to go. Ooh. Saints are going for it. 4th and 5. All right. Taysom Hill in the slot. Let's do this. 4th and 5. Carr is going to go down. He's going to go down. The Rams pass rush gets home again. All right. Is that Kobe Turner? Is that his name? He's been a good rookie. Look at him just break through the interior. Down he goes for the sack. Big turnover on downs. Rams get nice field position. Their pass rush has been looking pretty good so far. They've let up some chunk plays. They've let up some yardage, but they've buckled down most when they've been needed. Force a punt and then a turnover on downs. Rams in prime real estate. We'll see what they can do. Mile Marker says, dang. Yeah, if you're rooting for the Saints, that's a tough play right there. This could be an interesting little sequence. We'll see how this goes from here, but I'm going to get a swig of water. Been talking a lot, which is always good, right? Stafford, money so far. Look at this box score. 5 for 7, 68 and a touchdown. I mean, let's just look at how well he's playing. Where would you guys put Matthew Stafford right now amongst QBs in the NFL? I don't know if he is fully top 5, but he's probably pretty darn close. And some of his numbers don't even do justice, right? Like 21 touchdowns, which is a decent amount, but a lot of those have come recently. Finally found the game log. There we go, right? 2, 3, 3, 4. I mean, whoo-hoo. And just some of the throws, I mean, just absolute ropes. He just seems to be as mentally sharp as ever, right? That's probably, I mean, shoot, like he has more familiarity in the system now. He comes over to LA in 2021, completely different offense. Never worked with a coach like Sean McVay before. And it was just such a seamless transition. But he's been here a few years now. Like he's probably even more comfortable in the system. And with some of the adjustments they've made, I mean, he just, I don't know. Like, and he's just older. And he's always been a mentally sharp quarterback, but he's a real throwback where like he's a little bit mobile, right? He's not like a scrambler or anything. He can move some, but he's an assassin from the pocket. They don't make too many QBs like Matthew Stafford anymore. But I just love his game. And I love how he's still in an era where the deep ball is dying and we don't see as many explosive plays. He still lets it rip down the field. I gained a lot of respect for Matthew Stafford with the Vikings and Lions battles in the 2010s. Man, you could tell even back then he was a baller. Wide open Puka. Oh my goodness. Down near the red zone already. Yeah, another big hitter. That was quick. Puka. Whoever has Puka in fantasy right now, right? These late season matchups, fantasy playoffs. Puka Nacua. Looking good. 28 yards. I mean, I remember making a joke. I was like, who the heck is Puka Nacua when I was looking at the Rams depth chart? I'll give it to Kyron. A little bit right there. Not bad. Oh, the ball came out, but he's down. Wow, so they have... I'm trying to decipher this graphic they're showing on the screen right now. It says shift and motion rate 100% on their opening drive. So I guess they just either shifted their formation or ran motion on 100% of their plays. Also, my camera's out of focus. I'm going to do that real quick to try and get it to refocus. There we go. Still getting used to this whole idea of a webcam here. There's Cooper Kupp down inside the 10. A Rams touchdown seems inevitable right now. Man, it has been effortless on offense outside of like when they had to go for it on fourth down. Well, I guess then they had that stretch where they were like 2nd and 18, but some of that was off of a penalty. But Stafford's already over 100 yards. 7 for 9, 107 now. Now they'll give it to Kyron. Inching closer and closer. See, what's big about this Rams team, and even more so than like even the Rams team that won the Super Bowl, their running game is better now. This is one of the best rushing teams in the league. And I kind of alluded to it earlier, but their game against the Commanders on Sunday. The Commanders kind of made it close, right? Jacoby Brissett came in and looked pretty good, might I say. And the Commanders made it interesting. But the Rams pretty much found themselves in a spot where they just needed to get a few first downs to win the game. And they did, no problem. They just ran the ball and got the first downs, closed the game out. And Kyron's going to run it close to the end zone. Won't quite get there. But not every team can do that. I mean, save for Saturday, which where did that come from? Not to make everything about the Vikings, but like that has been a big problem for the Vikings this year, is that they aren't that great of a running team and they can't quite close games out like that or stay on schedule on drives, right? Running the ball is a big secret to success in the playoffs as Stafford looked for Kupp again and they couldn't quite hook up, and now they'll probably kick. Oh. Woo-hoo. He wanted Kupp again. They just haven't quite been able to hook up. Did Kupp drop this one too? Yeah, he could have caught it. It would have been a tough catch, but it was in his hands. That's a catch for a receiver of his caliber that he should make. Little harsh to call it a drop, but he could have had it. Now they'll kick it. They can go up 2 scores. Lucas Havricks. I butchered that name. I'm so sorry. The analytics are saying go for it again, but I don't know. Go up 2 scores, right? Saints get a turnover on downs here. That's a game-changing moment. There you go. All right, 10-0 Rams. Mile marker says, whew. Big bullet dodge there for the Saints, as it could have been 14-0. It probably should have been 14-0. Cooper Kupp should have 2 touchdowns. If you have Cooper Kupp in fantasy, you're probably livid right now, but what could have been, 4 points left on the table. Not insignificant. Saints defense getting a stop when they need it. But again, I mean, the success rate of the Rams offense right now, how many yards do they have? 107 passing, 37 rushing. Yeah. They might get 400 yards in this game. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of game left, but also there's a lot of game left. We've got a lot already. Pearchamp says, I saw your community post about the quarterbacks this season and did it myself. Here's my results. 1 Purdy, 2 Lamar, 3 Allen, 4 Dak, 5 Hurts, 6 Mahomes, 7 Tua, 8 Stroud, 9 Stafford, and 10 Goff. All right, so we got some quarterback ranking action in here. You know what? Depending on how this game goes, maybe we will transition into the QB ranking quiz. I might keep that in my back pocket and have that be its own stream. We'll see the vibes, but we've got 9 people in here now. We've got some good vibes hanging out here in the stream. We'll see for sure, but maybe I'll do it after the game. That might be past my bedtime though, and I do have to get to work on my video here a little bit. But all right, so Purdy at 1. I mean, hey, the numbers speak for themselves, right? Brock Purdy has been good this year, and there is a fascinating debate over Brock Purdy and maybe how good he is, and some people just like, no, he can't possibly be good, and some people are like, oh, I mean, he's like the MVP favorite, So I will dive more into my Brock Purdy take here in a little bit, or when I do this QB ranking quiz. But Purdy 1, Lamar 2. I mean, Lamar, you could make an excellent case for being number 2, right? Could make a case for him being MVP, honestly, with kind of how the year has been. Josh Allen at 3. I like that. I like me some Josh Allen. Dak at 4. All right. I like it. 5, Jalen Hurts. 6, Mahomes. Mahomes at 6, man. Crazy. Oh, his receivers are killing him. 7, Tua. 8, Stroud. CJ Stroud, top 10 as a rookie. I could get behind that. He's looked pretty good. I'm curious to see where Stroud would end up on my rankings when I do this quiz here. Stafford 9. Oh, yeah. Like seeing Stafford in the top 10. And at 10, Jared Goff. All right. It's a nice little list right there. But it's been a weird year for quarterbacking. Like, some of the quarterbacks haven't had the most help, like Herbert or Mahomes, for example. And just scoring and passing is down in general. I saw a tweet last week that made me feel old and sad, where someone posted a screenshot of like the leaderboard for passing yards, and someone was like, dang, we're not going to have a 5,000 yard passer this year. And it's like, man, is this what the game has become, where people are expecting 5,000 yard passing seasons? And I say I feel old. I'm 23. I'm obviously not old, but it just, seeing that is like, back in my day, when I first started watching football, there was only 2 5,000 yard passing seasons in league history. Like, it's just so crazy. Like, now there are people like 16-year-olds on Twitter, right? They're like, no 5,000 yard passing season. It's like, that used to be like historic. Pearchap with a nice little comment right here saying, personally, I would rather have CMC get MVP because I'm tired of it being a quarterback award. And I think you could argue CMC is the more valuable player on the 49ers than Purdy is, right? And CMC's been a monster this year. Running away with the rushing title, leads the league in yards per scrimmage. I believe he leads the league in touchdowns too, no? 49ers, best team in the league, and he's just been such a key cog. He has transformed the entire offense since he came over week 8 of last year. I would have no issue with giving the MVP to CMC because this is one of the best running back seasons we've ever seen, and he's on the best team in the league. Why not, right? I could totally get behind that. Let's pull up CMC's stats here a little bit. It's kind of crazy. He does not lead the league in rushing touchdowns. Total touchdowns he might, but that would be Raheem Mostert with 18. Raheem Mostert has 18 touchdowns. I mean, look at that. He's the only 1,000-yard rusher right now. And he's almost at 1,300 yards. 5.3 a pop, which is a career high. 13 rushing touchdowns. And probably a decent amount of receiving, as Jamal Williams will get a little bit. There's going to be a flag that comes in, but I mean, yeah, we haven't even looked at his receiving numbers yet, which is half the fun with him. 57 catches, 509 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Yeah, he's got 20 total touchdowns. I think he's actually tied with Mostert for total touchdowns. But still, I mean, come on. Just unbelievable. And he had another great game yesterday. I mean, every game has been a great game for him. He's been running extra well recently. I mean, 145, follows that up with 115. 4 straight games with under 20 carries, and he's still going for like 100 yards. And he's getting a lot of work in the receiving game. I mean, yeah, he why not CMC for MVP? Honestly, if I had a vote, I might vote CMC at this point. I'd have to think about it. Saints 2nd and 20, nothing. Not quite on the same page there. Incomplete. Now it's 3rd and 20. Oh. And this is where things start to get bad for the Saints. There's Shohei. They're showing him now on the screen. Rocking a Rams jersey. Newly minted LA Dodger Shohei Ohtani. I saw a tweet. It is kind of funny, right? Like Shohei, they're making a big deal. Like Shohei's at the LA Rams game, right? It's like he's been in California this whole time. He was with the Angels, but the Dodgers are just so much more of a serious organization than the Angels. And to be fair, like Anaheim is a ways away from Los Angeles, but I do think it's funny. Like, welcome to LA, Shohei. It's like, well, he's kind of been there the whole time. 3rd down and 20, they just try a draw. I mean, why not, right? You don't want disaster to happen. You probably weren't getting the 20 yards. You're going to punt it away. There's Matthew Stafford getting some throws in. Now, here's the thing, though. Touchdown makes it a 3-score game. 3-score game. The Saints, with all due respect, are not really built to come back from 3 scores. And they'll punt it. I always get faked out when like the Australian punters like run to the side a little bit to get a little bit more time to try and punt it. I always think like, oh, it's a fake. They're faking it on 4th and 20. Nope. That would take some guts. They're not like that though. I mean, who is, right? But commercial break again. 10-0 Saints up on top. Rams up on top. You know what? Let's do it. Let's drop something that I've kind of been dangling for a little bit, right? I said we had an exciting announcement in my post. I said an exciting announcement kind of early on in the stream. Let's do it. I'm proud to announce that tomorrow, finally, after almost a quarter of a year, after just an incredible amount of time just working on it, that the 30-minute sprawling epic, the deep dive into the Shanahan coaching tree, the Shanahan offense, the NFL's meta, the latest creation from Dr. Pigskin, will be released tomorrow on YouTube. My latest video. I am beyond excited for it. I literally have just like 2 things I need to wrap up and then it's ready to post. I'll probably do that once we're done here streaming tonight. And then tomorrow, keep your eyes peeled. It will be out tomorrow, finally. This video has taken a lot out of me. It's been very fun to make. I've had a lot of fun making it, but oh man, and maybe I stretched myself too thin with like how much I tried to do, but also, I try and make sure that I put a lot into the content that I put out. And I think you guys are going to be in for a treat. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope it's worth the wait. I think it will be. It should be good. I'm very excited for it. It's been a nice little learning experience for me. I've learned more about like offensive line play and blocking schemes than I ever thought I ever would. And, just going through a lot of stats and charts and film and reading articles and watching videos. But it's going to be good. And I pushed myself to my limit here with some of the graphics I tried to make, some of the editing stuff. I mean, I'm not like Christopher Nolan or anything. but I'm trying to get better with Premiere Pro. And yeah, there's a few fun little surprises in there. Of course, it's a Dr. Pigskin production, so there's got to be a fun little twist, right? So I hope that you guys find it to be a very entertaining and informative and fun 30 minutes. Keep your eyes peeled for tomorrow. We've got Michael in here too. Welcome to the stream, Michael. Hope you're doing well, getting ready for the holiday season. Good to see you in here. And Mile Marker with the nice little monocle emoji. I like it. Pear Champ saying that's awesome, man. Looking forward to it. Thank you. I think you guys are going to like it. And you know what? Hey, the Packers are a big part of this video, right? Matt LaFleur is one of those guys. He's one of the 4 main Shanahan scheme coaching tree guys. So a lot of Packers talk in there. So you Packers fans in chat, you got a nice little treat. I'm going to be saying very nice things about your head football coach, as well as the coach that we're watching right now, Sean McVay. I mean, I've gained a new appreciation for the Rams from this video. But yeah, tomorrow, the day will come. 2nd and 5 here for the Rams. And man, I mean, it's crazy. Like, it's 30 minutes. I could have gone on for a lot more. And I mean, maybe I'll do, I don't know. But like, I could have talked even more about just like the fascinating relationships between these coaches. And I dive into it, but like, I don't know. I cover all the bases, but you better see a Mike McDaniel impersonation. Well, there's not that in the video, but there's something else that I think you'll enjoy even more that's related to Mike McDaniel. I'll tell you that. And maybe I'll try and give a Mike McDaniel impersonation here in a second. I've been working on it, like actually a little bit. It's not the greatest, but I'll try and think of something to say, Oh my goodness, did he complete that? See, that's what I'm talking about with Stafford right there. Throws like that, going like across his body, rolling out, right? Going to his left as a right-handed passer, going against the grain, and he just sidearms it. I mean, it's vintage Stafford. Oh, he's just on the move. Whoop! Little dart sidearm. I mean, it's incredible. There are very few quarterbacks in the league that can make that throw. That's a special pass. And in the box score, it only goes a 10-yard pass. But man, considering the situation, 3rd down and 4, just a high-level play. I'll just throw it away there. All right, let me try and be Mike McDaniel there, breaking that play down. Like, oh no, I gotta. So the Dolphins' offensive line is like all injured, right? And I actually didn't see the video, but apparently he had like a funny response in a press conference when someone asked him about the health of his offensive line. He's like, So I guess you'd be like, yeah, I mean, our line is solid, and it's definitely a big part of what we're trying to do, but I don't know, man. You tell me. I don't really know what's going on around here. People just kind of tell me things, so I hope they can play. That was all right. It was all right. I feel like he's even a little goofier than that, but like just his cadence and like just the way he kind of talks like this, like I don't know. I need to watch in-season Hard Knocks, but he is a funny guy. I love Mike McDaniel. He's one of my favorite coaches. He is a little goofball. But he's really good at his job. I mean, you have to be, right? And the fact that he's been able to build a winning culture, and like you see this scrawny guy with big glasses. He doesn't look like a football coach, but people buy in and take him seriously. Rams are already in Saints territory again. But I'll workshop that McDaniel impression, and maybe it'll be better in a week or something. Oh, Michael liked it. Well, there you go. See? We'll take it. We'll take it. I don't want to say I look like him because my hair's a little bit longer, but also, I mean, like back when he's on the 49ers, he had long hair. It's definitely the glasses and the beard a little bit, and I'm a white guy. Although he's actually mixed, I believe. But still, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could go as him for Halloween next year or something. That'd be a fun Halloween costume. But oh yeah, we'll be talking a lot about these 4 coaches. Taking it back to the 2012 Washington squad with RG3. I mean, Yeah. Part documentary, part like analytical breakdown, storytelling, of course. It's going to be good. But yeah, I've got some fun surprises, including one involving Mike McDaniel that I think you, especially Michael, as someone that knows you, I think you're going to enjoy it. The Rams have an 88% chance to win, according to ESPN. I buy it. I mean, they're already in field goal range. Won't change much if they get a field goal. It'd be a two-score game still. They bring the blitz to Stafford, and again, he can't hook up with Cooper Kupp. Man, what has been going on? The Stafford to Kupp connection hasn't fully been there. Is that another drop? No, that was just a low throw. Stafford just missed him there. But those two have not been quite fully in sync like they normally are. He does like a little block there on the defensive lineman, tries to get open. Man, tough day at the office for him so far. I mean, he still had like a big catch or two, but nothing yet. Field goal is no good. All right, you know what? That makes things semi-intriguing. Missed kick. It's 10-0 still. All right. Big swing right there. That gives the Saints a pulse. There's a pulse. You can feel it. Commercial break. Pearchamp says, did you ever end up looking into playing that Lethal Company game? No, I feel so bad. I have not looked into it on the store yet, anything. I still need to do that. Let me Google it right now, actually. I remember you gave me a breakdown and it sounded very fun. And you said it was multiplayer too, right? So it's on Steam. I'm assuming it's on console, right? Because I guess I have... Well, I have a Mac. I don't have a PC or anything. I do technically have a Steam account from OOTP. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played that. That's a baseball game. Very in-depth, comprehensive GM simulator. OOTP stands for Out of the Park. If you guys know the YouTube channel Foolish Baseball, which is kind of slightly like the baseball version of Dr. Pigskin a little bit, or maybe I'm the football version of Foolish Baseball. That's probably a better way to put it. But he actually started off as an OOTP YouTuber. If you go back and look at his first videos, it was all OOTP stuff. But that's a really fun game. I mean, it's more in depth than any sort of franchise mode you could ever get on Madden or 2K or anything like that. It is crazy. But Lethal Company, it's on Steam. So yeah, co-op horror game about scavenging in abandoned moons to sell scrap to the company. I like it. I've never played a game like this before, unless I think about it. I don't think so, but I'm always down to try new things. Overwhelmingly positive reviews. That's always a good sign. Looks like a vibe. It looks like one of those classic computer games. Lethal Company. All right. Oh, it's only $10. That's not bad. All right. Mental note. Lethal Company. Mile marker saying yay. Yeah, for the missed field goal, I'm assuming. I wonder the percentage of Lions fans that are rooting for the Saints right now. And I'm curious. I might have asked you this before. I can't remember. But mile marker, what are your thoughts on Matthew Stafford? Just are you happy for him? Probably, right? But is it just, man, oh, I don't want to beat Stafford? Or is it, oh, Stafford scares me? Is it a little bit of both? Because I feel like it'd be very bittersweet if Stafford came into Ford Field with the Lions for the playoffs, you know? I feel like he'd get cheered. I don't think Lions fans would boo him or anything. I feel like they left on good enough terms, right? And things have worked out for both teams. Saints could use a score here. Oh, that's a good throw by Derek Carr. Falling away, just a little fadeaway jumper, and he drops it in the bucket. Best throw of the night so far from Carr. Look at that. That's a good throw. Mile marker says, most Lions fans like him, so if he came here, we'd clap. All right, that's good. Yeah. I have always liked Matthew Stafford, even when he was on the Lions, you know. Oh, He's a fun quarterback, and those are some fun Lions teams with him. Michael says, how big is this game for the Vikings? Oh, it's bigger than big, man. It is our most important game of the season. I fully believe that. If the Vikings don't win this game, I don't think we make the playoffs. And a lot of it just has to do with like vibes or whatever, right? Because like we wouldn't be mathematically eliminated. But if the Lions win this game, they lock up the division, right? They clinch the NFC North with a few weeks to go. So that eases the pressure a little bit. And it also helps them keep pace for potentially the 2 seed, which they're very much in the race for, with the Eagles just keeping on dropping games and the Cowboys have lost games. Like this is very much like a possibility for the Lions to get the 2 seed, which then they'd play the 7 seed, which could be the Vikings. I mean, I've said this a lot, as Carr's going to go deep, and it's caught by Rashid Shaheed. Touchdown Saints out of nowhere. Carr with another good throw. That's twice now, Caden. Good throw and Carr in the same sentence. Derek Carr on one this drive. 3 plays, 63 yards, and a touchdown. Oh my goodness. What an answer from the Saints. That's a 10-point swing right there. Drew Brees is in the house. He's laughing it up in the press box. The Saints are back in this, very much so. It looked like it was about to maybe even go to 17-0 or 13-0. I'm making some snide comments like, well, the Saints aren't built to play from down 3 scores, as if anyone is. But Derek Carr, 2 great throws on this drive, and Rashid Shaheed, one of the best deep threats in the league. Oh, he just burned him. He just ran by him. The safety is lost. He's occupied with the underneath guy. There's 3 guys at Olave. Shaheed is wide open. Good play design right there from Pete Carmichael Jr., right? Just use Olave to take up all the attention on an intermediate route. You get your deep threat wide open. And Shaheed just unlocks the defense. Carr finds him. Hits him in stride, right? Yeah, he's open. No, it's not the hardest throw ever, but you have to hit him in stride if you're going to score a touchdown on that, right? He could put it behind him, and maybe he gets tackled at the 5, and then the next thing you know, something weird happens, and you're settling for 3. So that was a great drive from Derek Carr right there, who has been playing all right this game, honestly. Like, I don't know. I've liked what I've seen from him so far. And we've got a game, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a game. I like this. It was looking like it might have been a blowout for a while, but how quickly things can change. We'll talk more about this Vikings-Lions game at halftime, I think, because I could go in and really talk about it, but we will get back to that. Don't you worry. Mile Marker says, we're all sort of holding our collective breath. One pride. Yeah, I mean, you know, they're still on the doorstep. And I mean, mathematically, the 1 seed is still in play for them. And you know what? The Niners play the Ravens, so you know, the Niners could potentially like drop another game here. They play the Rams the last week of the season. It's not like they're just going to sleepwalk to the 1 seed. I think we all assume the Niners are going to get it. In my opinion, they're the best team in the NFC, but you know, the 1 seed is still there for them. Pearchamp says, if my Packers do make the playoffs, I would want them to play the Lions, and if they didn't, the Rams and Lions would be good, especially considering the Rams and Lions performed against the Ravens. Yeah. I do think it would be fun, and it would be torture for a lot of Lions fans, so I'd feel bad for like Mile Marker and Gabe and Grace and Truth, but just the juicy storyline of Matthew Stafford back in Ford Field for the playoffs. The Lions, you know, their best year in however long, going up against their old quarterback. I mean, Jared Goff going up against the Rams. That's both quarterbacks from that trade are still on their same team. Everyone just assumed Jared Goff was going to be the bridge guy and he was going to be gone in a year. They wanted to get rid of that contract, but Goff is still there. So, that would be a very delicious matchup. I think, assuming the Vikings got in, right? Because obviously I'd rather the Vikings, like if the Vikings didn't play the Lions and that meant they wouldn't get in, like, yeah, the Vikings should get in. Because I'm a Vikings fan. My team matters, you know. Shoot, what was I going to say? No, but like, I think Rams-Lions would be more fun than Vikings-Lions, especially since we're going to see it twice in the next 3 weeks, right? Give me something a little bit different. But yeah. Caden says, how old is Breeze? He's in his 40s, right? I mean, he retired a few years ago at this point. I'm going to guess like 43. 44. All right. Drew Brees is 44. Yeah. I mean, shoot, man. He was in the league for a long time. Came in 2001. Retired in 2020. He's been retired for a few years now, which like is weird to say. But it no longer feels weird watching the Saints without Drew Brees, which is kind of crazy, but it's true. Man. Mile Marker says Stafford has played here already. Stafford has played here already. It's because it's the playoffs. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not like his return, right? Like, was it 2 years ago? Was it the first year he was there that they played against each other? Right? Yeah, because the NFC North played the NFC West that year. But it is like the playoffs just add a little bit extra, right? I mean, someone's not going home happy. That would be fascinating. That it would be even crazier if Stafford had not returned to Ford Field yet, though. I mean, that would be crazy. But no, we got that his first year there. And I think it was like a closer game than people expected, right? I'm trying to remember how that game went down. But if I recall correctly, it was like a fairly close game. The Lions put up a good fight. And that was when the Lions were terrible. 2021. Yep. Versus Detroit. Wait, did he? Yeah, okay. So they beat Detroit at home. 28-19, yeah. So I guess a two-score game, but still pretty close. Did they play last year? No. So this would be his second game against the Lions, but his first one at Ford Field. Wow. Interesting. Well, let's see what he has in store here in SoFi. And again, going to Cup, and it's not there. That was good defense right there. But how many times have they targeted Cooper Kupp now? It's got to be like at least 6, or it feels like it. 7 targets, only 3 catches. 3 for 28 on 7 targets. Not a typical stat line you see for Cooper Kupp. If he's getting this much work, usually he's got more production at this point. And you know what? This Saints secondary is pretty good. I like a lot of their DBs. Alontae Taylor, Paulson Adebo, Marshawn Lattimore. It's a talented unit. Although, is Lattimore hurt? I think he was banged up earlier. Here comes the blitz. Stafford in trouble, and he's not escaping. It looked like he might have got out for a sec. There's Carl Granderson, who's having a very underrated year, gets another sack. And by goodness, by golly, the Saints are getting the ball back down 3 before halftime. Crazy, 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 crazy. Look at this win probability swing a little bit. Right? It was down to 88, I think, for the Rams. It's starting to creep back up a little bit. We're getting closer to that middle line. Opportune stop right there for the Saints D. Stafford looks to be a little frustrated right there. It was a good effort to try and get out of that, but nothing. Carl Granderson. I think I said that. Not to be confused with Curtis Granderson, the outfielder. Former outfielder. And they'll get decent field position. I mean, the Rams didn't move the ball much on that drive. The Saints can probably hope to get at least 3 here. They've got 2 timeouts, too. Carr, 140. I mean, how about the quarterback play in this game? Both QBs on track to throw for about 300 yards. Mile Marker says, stand corrected. Hey, it's all good, man. I honestly thought that game was at Ford Field, too. I'm not going to lie. I was surprised to see it was at SoFi. But, so that's just even another layer. Like, it's just like there's so much to unravel if this is a matchup that happens in the playoffs. And honestly, as a neutral, I'm rooting for it. I think that would be the most fun matchup. And I think it'd be a good game. I do. I don't know. Well, and I say this, they're struggling to put away the Saints right now. Granted, it's only halftime and you can never get too reactionary, but there's not a lot of teams in the NFC right now that I would pick to beat the Rams, to be quite honest with you. There's not a whole lot. Whoever is going to get the 5 seed is going to be feeling good. No disrespect to Tampa or New Orleans or even Atlanta, but you got to feel like it'll probably be the Cowboys, right? They'll be the favorites. Carr with a strike over the middle to Olave. Here we go. And they're going to let that clock run, which I totally understand. You don't want to leave too much time. You want to bleed some clock. You're not in a big rush. You can get down the field quickly. There's Raheed Shaheed. Second down, still moving. And the Rams have all 3 timeouts. At what point do you start using your timeouts if you're the Rams? Probably not here on 2nd and short, right? You don't want to help them out for sure. 2nd and 5. If they get like an incompletion here, which they do, now that stops the clock. That's big. Now it's 3rd and 5. And now you start thinking, okay, should we be aggressive here? Should we try and get a blitz maybe? Go for the big sack, right? Where are they? They're at the LA 42. I don't know how big of a leg the Saints kicker has, so I don't know if it's in his range or not, or if this would be 4-down territory. Do you try and push them out of 4-down territory here? They're loading up the front right now. We'll see if they actually do bring the blitz, but they might be trying to go for a big play right here. You don't want him to get any yards, and Olave dropped it. Oh, might have been behind him. He was wide open. And he would have had acres of space to run. That could have been a big play. Instead, it's incomplete. And right now, Carr is still out on the field. They might go for it, but... Oh, he's just wide open. He just wasn't fully ready, I don't think. Carr looks annoyed. They are going to go for it regardless. Here we go. They say Dennis Allen does not use analytics. Wow, just coming at him. Carr rips it, and it's incomplete, and the Rams get a stop. Wow. All right, so just when it looked like the Saints might steal some points before halftime, the Rams get the ball back. 3 timeouts, a little bit less than a minute left. Now maybe they could steal some points, and I'm trying to remember. I believe the Rams do get the ball to start the second half, so they could try and go 2 for here. Let's say they get a field goal, then they'd be up 6, get the ball to start the second half. Not a bad spot to be in, but you want to go for that touchdown. You want to make it an extra possession, right? If you make it a 10-point game and get the ball, oh, Mile Marker says that was a mess. Yeah, it was. I mean, Saints just inopportune right there. Stafford's going to buy some time. Look at him roll out. Now he's going to throw on the run, looking for Robinson, and he's got him. Big gain. First down. Clock stops. The Rams back into Saints territory. And Pear Champ, I see your question. That'll be a good halftime question that we'll tackle. I do have another one in mind that I might do some research to back this up because I read this. I don't actually have any numerical evidence that it's true, but I will go Google it here at halftime. But I do have another candidate. I don't know if I'd call it the biggest upset, but it's up there. That's what I'll say. And it's semi-historically significant too, I would say. But look at Stafford buy time on that play. Look at the legs. You know, I was worried a lot about his elbow, but also, like, Matthew Stafford is just pretty old. He's in his mid-30s, right? He was drafted in 2009. But physically, he looks as good as ever. It's not even just that mentally he's sharper. The mobility, the arm, everything is still there. You could tell me that this is like 2011 Matthew Stafford out there, and you'd be like, yeah. Ooh, that was a big hit on, was it Higbee? Yeah. Gets out of bounds. I guess the Rams had to burn a timeout there. Robinson probably didn't get fully out of bounds. But you still got 2 left. 40 seconds is a lot of time, and you're near the red zone. You don't really have to worry about the timeouts too much, to be honest. Over the middle, there's Puka again, and he's been the guy today. Haven't always been on the same page as Kupp. And now they'll call a timeout here with 30 off. I was like, they're letting the clock run, and maybe not the worst idea, but also that's a little risky. It's a risky game to play. Sean McVay is like, no thanks. I will say, for as much praise as I heap on Sean McVay, probably his biggest weakness, and it's been notable this season, excuse me, has been like clock management and timeout management. There have been so many games this year with the Rams, and some of those close losses, like that Pittsburgh game comes to mind, where the Rams burn their timeouts so early because maybe there's a miscommunication at the line of scrimmage. They have to burn a timeout, and then, man, it just comes back to bite them. And they have, like, no timeouts when they're in a 2-minute drill. So good on the Rams for having all 3 timeouts here. That has not always been the case this season. There's Kyron. And see, it opens up the playbook. You can run here on 1st and 10 with a timeout. They get a nice chunk of yardage. It takes a little bit of time off the clock. Now you can call timeout. You probably get 2 shots at the end zone. And then if that doesn't work, you kick it. And there won't be too much time left for the Saints. Realistically, the Saints will get the ball back with like less than 20 seconds, even if the Rams score right here. So, well managed. Puka already hit his over. He's been, 63 yards and a half. That's pretty good. And a touchdown, right? Yeah. Demarcus Robinson at 78 yards. Olave has 74. All right, empty set. Yeah, see? Spread all your weapons out. I guess Tutu Atwell's not playing. I should have looked into that before the game, but I have not seen him out there once. But they've got a deep room. They'll send Kupp in motion. And it's caught by Robinson. And it's a touchdown. The Rams steal 7 before going into the locker room. We'll see about the extra point, but another great throw by Stafford. Oh, there is Tutu Atwell. Okay, I'm going crazy. They just didn't highlight him there, but he is there. But he's like wide receiver 3 for them. Maybe wide receiver 4 at this point. Demarcus Robinson's having a game. 21 seconds left. About to be a 10-point game. Oh, sorry, mile marker. It ain't over, though. It ain't over. But the Rams have the chance to double up here. They'll get the ball to start the second half. Already up 2 scores. Stafford is good at the hurry up. He's always been good at the hurry up. He led so many of those clutch game-winning drives, time ticking down with the Lions. I immediately think of that one against the Cowboys. The fake spike, and he sneaks it in. He is a lot of fun to watch when he gets in rhythm and they're going quick and they're just trying to get chunk play. Yeah. He is the maestro of that. And you know what? He got the Vikings for a lot of those back when he was on the Lions too. Man, he just ate us up. Good job by Robinson to get both feet in bounds. Look at Sean McVay. Look at how happy he is. Carson Wentz. I always forget Carson Wentz is on the Rams. Mile marker appreciates that Cowboys shout out. Yeah, that was a good game. I remember watching that game. I remember like Stafford, he was so funny at the post-game press conference. They asked him about the fake spike and he's like, well, I got up to the line and everyone's just like, so I was like, all right, like I'm just gonna fake spike it, like let's go. Like I think it was like more or less improvised. Because you don't see that a lot. Fake spike, sneak it in. And he was so adamant. As soon as he reached the ball across, he broke the plane, but he wanted to make sure he ran around the line and like ran in, and he's going crazy, celebrating like a little kid. Good memory right there. I don't know if that unlocked a memory for any of you guys, but can the Saints get anything here? They'll probably try for at least the first play or two. They need however many yards to get into field goal range. 40 maybe. They're going to take a deep shot. Oh! They were looking for Shaheed and he had a step. Also, sorry, Amazon. No, I don't want to click to play the touchdown. I don't want stats by X-ray. Sorry, my broadcast is being weird, but oh! They kind of had Shaheed there a little bit. Parachamp with a good call. How could I forget about probably the second greatest drive in Matthew Stafford's career? That game against the Bucks hits Cooper Kupp down the middle of the field, deep down. It looked like Brady magic was going to happen again, and they were going to force OT after this crazy comeback. Stafford, with ice water in his veins, ropes one to Cooper Kupp, sets up the game-winning field goal. And of course, in the Super Bowl, he also led a game-winning drive, finding Cooper Kupp in the end zone for the game-winning score. I mean, he really is that guy, man. He really is. Matthew Stafford is one of my all-time favorite quarterbacks. Also a Georgia guy. Go Dogs. Mile Marker says, I remember when he caught the pass he threw. Are you referring, did he catch a pass from himself? Probably. That seems like a Matthew Stafford thing to do. Of course, when I think of a quarterback catching their own pass, I immediately think of Marcus Mariota against the Chiefs with the Titans in the playoffs, if you guys remember that. That was an insane game, too. Mariota catching his own touchdown. But it's halftime. It's a 10-point game here. The Rams up over the Saints. And I would say that's been a fairly deserved result. Maybe the Saints could have a few more points. They've had some good drives. Oh, when he tipped the pass. Okay. Interesting. I suppose. Yeah, I mean, it'd have to be tipped. Like, you can't just, like, throw it up to yourself and then go run under it like you're, I don't know, the Flash or Sonic the Hedgehog or something. But... All right, let's get to your question here, Pear Champ. You said, what would you say is the biggest upset for a Super Bowl in NFL history? Could it be the Jets versus Colts in Super Bowl III, Giants Patriots in 2007, Patriots Rams in 2002, any others? And I think you covered the big three right there, right? Patriots Rams, that was the greatest show on turf. That was Brady's first year as a starter. Back when the Patriots were like the lovable, plucky underdogs, which is funny to say now, but that was the thing back then. I say that like I watch football, but you know, that was the vibes. Giants Patriots, at this point the Patriots were the evil empire, right? They came into that game undefeated. The Giants barely got into the playoffs, and yet they ended up winning the whole darn thing. Historic game, historic result, crazy upset. And then Jets versus Colts in Super Bowl III. That's the classic. That's the ultimate upset, right? Back before the NFL and AFL were even merged, everyone thought the NFL was just so much better than the AFL. Packers won the first two Super Bowls as the NFL's representatives, and they destroyed both the Chiefs and the Raiders in the first two Super Bowls, right? I don't remember what the line was, even if there was a line back then, but the Colts were heavy favorites, right? Just a great team. I don't think they had Johnny Unitas that year. I think it was Earl Morrall, if I remember correctly. Unitas might have been hurt or something, but just Hall of Famers all over for the Colts. But Joe Namath famously guaranteed that the Jets are going to win that game. And you know what? They did. I'm going to throw into the ring here. Super Bowl IV, the last Super Bowl before the merger, right? Jets versus Colts was Super Bowl III. NFL and AFL were not fully merged yet. Super Bowl IV was the last pre-merger Super Bowl. And it was Chiefs representing the AFL versus the Minnesota Vikings, your representatives of the NFL. And the Vikings were just an unbelievable team that year. Let's look it up, right? I believe it was 1970. Whoopsies. Or was it? I think it was 1970. 1970 Vikings, if I'm not mistaken. No. It was, okay, so it was 69. Yeah, because the merger happened in 1970. But look at this. 12-2. First in the NFL. First in points for. First in points against. They allowed 9.5 points per game that season. This was the peak of the Purple People Eaters, right? I mean, just an unbelievable team. No Fran Tarkenton, which surprises some people, but Fran Tarkenton did get traded to the Giants for a little bit. This was back with Joe Kapp, which, fun fact, Joe Kapp actually holds an NFL record. Well, it's tied, but I believe he was the first to do it. Maybe not. But shares an NFL record with a couple other quarterbacks for most touchdowns in a game was 7. 7 passing touchdowns for Joe Kapp. But, you know, you look at the offense, and not like crazy, right? This was a different era, obviously. But the defense on this team, Jim Marshall, Alan Page, Gary Larson, Paul Krause, the all-time leader in interceptions, Carl Eller, just Hall of Famers, all pros everywhere. and they lose the Super Bowl 7-23 to the Chiefs, who went 11-3 in the AFL. Now, the thing I wanted to look up was, I read this somewhere. I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently the Vikings were heavier favorites in Super Bowl IV over the Chiefs than the Colts were, in Super Bowl III over the Jets. I'm going to look that up right now, but that is something that I read, and I would throw that into the ring of big upsets. And no, it's not just because I'm a Vikings fan, but that's definitely a reason why I know so much about this game. Vikings, Chiefs. Let's see. Well, we have a article from the Washington Post back in 1970. Look at that. Look at this old website right here, going back into the archives. It was a 13-point spread favoring the Vikings. What? The Vikings were 13-point favorites, and they got destroyed. 23-7. They didn't have a chance. They didn't hold a lead the whole game. They were 13-point favorites in the Super Bowl. Imagine that now. Is there any 13-point spread this entire week? Let's take a look, shall we? Cincy. Okay, so the Vikings in that Super Bowl were a bigger favorite than the Bills are over the Chargers, who just gave up 60-plus points to the Raiders and just fired their coach that are without Justin Herbert. Just let that sink in. That's how big of a favorite they were. And maybe Vegas just got it completely wrong, right? But goodness gracious, I'm telling you, I would throw that in there for biggest Super Bowl upset, for sure. Let's go look up what the Super Bowl III spread was here. But I mean, let's just take a look at the other spreads. I don't think there's that big of a spread this week. And we have it's a bigger spread than Giants, Eagles, and Philly. And this is the Super Bowl we're talking about. The Niners are 5-point favorites against the Ravens. Wow. Also, welcome to the stream, Eric. Good to see you in here. I did not know that either. I didn't know if that was like made up or not. I didn't know it was 13. All right, well, now we got to see. We got to see Colts versus Jets Super Bowl line. See how that compares. Oh, we got another Washington Post article. Let's go. Shout out Washington Post here. What was the line? Did it say? I'm not seeing anything so far. Okay, here we go. Lines.com. That's got to have it, right? We're going to get to the bottom of this. The lead up. Wow. Oh, okay. So it was not a bigger spread. This was an 18-point spread. What was Vegas on back then? I mean, I get that like everyone thought the Colts were the better team. An 18-point favorite in the Super Bowl? Are you kidding me? Goodness gracious. All right, so I stand corrected. It was not a bigger spread. However, still. But there you have it. All right, now I'm curious. Let's see. Can we find a historical list of every Super Bowl? I would love to see the history of Super Bowl betting lines, and we can maybe find some other upsets. I'm trying to think of other ones that came to mind. I mean, look at recently. Eagles 1.5, Rams are 4.5. Wow, Chiefs 3. I mean, these are all single possession spreads, right? The Panthers are 5-point favorites against the Broncos back in Super Bowl 50. This one was a pick'em, an even line. We have to go all the way back to Giants Patriots. The Chiefs were bigger favorites or the Vikings, excuse me, are bigger favorites over the Chiefs than the undefeated Patriots versus the Giants. At least based on spread, and now I would not argue against calling like this the biggest Super Bowl upset of all time, but at least based off point spread, Vikings Chiefs is bigger. Rams were 14-point favorites against the Patriots. Hey, good call there, right? Look at that. Good call, Pear Champ. At least based off a point spread, you're nailing it. Packers were an 11-point... Oh, I'm so sorry, Packers fans. 11-point favorites versus the Broncos, and the Broncos won. They're also 14-point favorites against the Patriots, though. 18.5 the 49ers got over the Chargers. That one they covered, I think. I'm not good at math, but... So we have some wild ones as we get down further in the depths of the league history. I mean, the Packers were heavy favorites in both of the first Super Bowls. But there you have it. These two, the heavy underdog actually won. Crazy. And you know what? Both those results were significant towards the AFL gaining like traction as a serious league. You know, I think the AFL and NFL agreed to merge after Super Bowl 3, and Super Bowl 4 was just like the last year, but they knew they were going to merge. But because people kind of looked down on the AFL a little bit. The NFL was the superior product. It was the better league, this, that. Like, the fact that they even played the Super Bowl the first few years was kind of surprising because everyone's just like, oh, the NFL is just going to kill the AFL. But those two Super Bowls went a long way towards people taking them seriously. And then the merger happened, and it was seamless. And now we've got the league we know today. And what a great product we've got. So, in a cruel, twisted, sad way, shout out to the 1969 Kansas City Chiefs for changing the league. I say that, though, and this might sound weird, and I'm sure older Vikings fans that were around back then and actually remember that game might disagree with me. But if the Vikings had won that Super Bowl, but then the rest of their franchise played out the exact same, it was the same exact history and everything, right? Like, it would be different because, you know, oh, we'd have a Super Bowl, you know. I always like saying this. I think I've said this on these streams before, but there is a lot of me that actually kind of likes that the Vikings have never won a Super Bowl because that means that I'm going to be there, like, when it does happen, right? And it's just going to be extra special. When it does happen, it is going to be a... I don't know. It's going to be one of the craziest days of my life, genuinely. And I look forward to it. I don't know when it's going to happen. I like to be optimistic and think it is going to happen. But we'll see, man. We'll see. One of these days. They're just going to keep making us wait and wait and wait. But you know what? If the Cubbies can win the World Series, we can win the Super Bowl, right? And look at that. That was a fun little halftime show talking about Super Bowl spreads. Here we go. Start of the second half. They're going to talk to Sean McVay, and then we're going to get back into the game. Pearchamp says, this could make a fun video topic if you ever wanted to convey this information with more research and statistics. I kind of like it. I have been looking for my next video now that I'm almost done with this one. And I've got like a few different ideas in my head, but I really like the storytelling aspect of some of my videos. You know, like my last video, there's a lot of storytelling with weaving the details of the 70 Steelers into how the league has changed and how teams are built and stuff. And with this, I'm weaving details of like the 2012 season and like the paths of Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan and all that. And so this might be a fun, like, I could go a few different routes with this, like how the AFL became, like how the AFL and NFL merged, the importance of those Super Bowls, something like that. I actually really like that idea. I'm going to store that away. That is a good idea. That could make a fun video. I like that. Something to do with like the merger or Super Bowls or something, but kind of how we got the league we know. All right, here we go. Game time. Second half. Rams do get the ball, I believe, right? Also, they're showing some Rashid Shaheed stats. He's got second most long catches behind Tyreek Hill, I think is what it said. I don't know what the criteria was for long catch. I think they showed it. I just didn't see it. But And Stafford's going to let one rip to start things off, looking for Puka. And he made the catch. Oh my goodness. Did he catch that? There's conflicting reports right now. Al Michaels can't believe it. I can't believe it. Oh! He holds on. And, I think the ball might come out there at the end. They're going to go quick. Do they get the playoff? They do. They got a playoff before they could go look at it. Before the Saints could challenge. Would the Saints have won this challenge? It looks like he secures it right there, but does that ball come out at the end? There's no good angle yet. You can't see what happens to the ball right when he starts to roll over. And it gets pushed. Oh, the Rams got away with one. Oh, they pulled a fast one. It's not often you see that. Usually the coaches are quick with the challenge. Honestly, man, whoever is responsible for telling Dennis Allen when to challenge a play, they kind of missed one right there. And how about the Rams? It's a big play downfield. And also, bad sight on the field right now for the Rams. Kyren Williams is down and his helmet got knocked off. Hopefully he's okay. It's another good run for him too. He's having another great game. 9-yard run. He's up to 56. Hopefully Kyron's okay as we'll take a commercial break for the injury timeout. But the fact that the Rams hit a big play downfield, right? You have to get your guys down the field quickly if you want to snap the ball again before they can review it. But not only that, but it's not even just like they snap the ball and throw it away. They get a few yards out of it. That was well executed by the Rams to prevent a review, and they might have stole one right there. Puka now over 100 yards already. Stafford at 244. 244. And hopefully Kyron's okay because he's been running the rock really well. You want to talk about a running back that's in fine form right now. We looked at CMC earlier. Again, 953 rushing yards. And he missed a month. 152, 144, 88, 143. And then before he got hurt, he went for 158. He's just been on a tear. Who is the Rams' other back? I know they had Darrell Henderson for a little bit. Do they still have him? Because I know they brought him back when Kyron went down. What's their depth chart looking like? Royce Freeman, that's right. Okay, they must have gotten rid of Darrell Henderson. Ronnie Rivers and then Zach Evans, who's out. So this could be a very big loss. He is their top dog. It's not even really that much of a committee. Kyron gets the ball a lot. Well, hopefully he's okay. We'll keep our ears open for any word, but already almost back in the red zone for the Rams. It's barely been a minute into the quarter. Drinking lots of water, not only because I'm talking a lot, but I really burnt the inside of my mouth and part of my tongue last night. I got some pizza, and it was some solid pizza, right? Boss's Pizza and Chicken. It's in downtown Fargo. Had never been there before. Honestly, it was all right. There's better places to get pizza in downtown Fargo, in my opinion. But it's pizza, right? But goodness gracious, it was so hot, and it just absolutely scorched my tongue and the roof of my mouth. And I'm still feeling it a day later. Tough scenes. That did cost them. So Ronnie Rivers is in now. They showed Kyron in the tent. Good blitz pickup by Rivers. First play. Oh, Stafford sailed it. He had Puka. That was a walk-in touchdown. And see, that's what I mean, right? For as much as we can maybe take for granted that throw that Derek Carr hit to Rashid Shaheed for the touchdown, it's he's wide open. Even the open throws like this, under pressure. Good blitz by the Saints. Ronnie Rivers, the Rams back, was able to pick it up to give Stafford enough time to get the throw off, but he overshot it. He put a little too much on it. He probably felt that pressure. Yeah, he got hit hard there at the end. Puka Nacua is closing in on history for most receptions by a rookie. I don't know if he'll break Waddle's record. He might. Stafford going for him again. Good coverage. That would have been an impossible throw and catch. But he's trying it. That's a heat check right there from Stafford. Let's watch this play back again. Puka's working from the slot. They'll send him in motion. There you just get that running start. Try and beat him to the corner. It was there. Going up against Paulson Adebo. Good adjustment. Oh, it slipped through. It was there. That was a good ball by Stafford. Man, even the heat checks are there. Just couldn't quite get that one. Now it's 3rd and 10. Saints are showing blitz. They bring the pressure, and a great call right there. Kupp gets the first down. Just swing it out quick to him. They see the blitz coming. They get Kupp in the open field with a blocker. And there you go. There's a good way to get your star receiver in rhythm a little bit. Haven't quite been able to hook up with him throughout the game. Get him a nice, easy yak opportunity. Get that first down. They motion Higbee, and immediately the purpose is just to have him be a blocker. All of a sudden, they've got 2 blockers on that side of the field. Easy. Great answer right there for Sean McVay. That is a Sean McVay W. And you know what? We're going to talk a lot about motion in that video tomorrow. That's another great example of the Rams' use of motion. But that is one of the 4 key components of this style of offense. And, you know, one of those advantages is you can get a numbers advantage to one side of the field real quickly. It's not like the Saints could just quickly adjust and shift their defense. You know, Higbee's going. He's in motion. By the time they snap the ball, he's exactly where he needs to be, blocking. And Kyren Williams is back in. That's good to see. 2nd and 4. There's Puka in motion. And they use a little misdirection right there. Made it look like maybe they're going to toss it to the outside with Kyren, have Puka lead block. They try and go up the middle. Saints stout, though, up front. Good play. 3rd down. I love how they just like show the call sheets now on broadcasts. And I mean, what are you actually going to do with that, right? I mean, I don't know if like any coaches are watching this and like, oh, write that down, write that down. I mean, maybe, who knows? But I wonder how often like play callers switch out call sheets, because they just like have them out, you know, but I don't know what you could actually do with that. Someone smarter than me could maybe answer that question. Need to get like JT O'Sullivan on here or something. 3rd and 2. Stafford with time. And it was batted at the line. All right. Not bad from the Saints there. Now I feel like you go for it though, right? Kicking a field goal still keeps it a 2-score game. I would go for it here on 4th and 2. Oh, it just came out weird. It wasn't even batted at the line. What happened? Kirk Herbstreit saying it looked like he tried to pull the ball back, maybe. That's legit. For a sec, I got scared. Like, oh no, is it an injury? Like, is elbow flaring up or something? They are going to kick the field goal here. I would have gone for it, but take the points. 20-7. But it's still a 2-score game here for the Saints. And we looked at how many yards the Rams have. You know, the Saints haven't gotten a lot going on the ground, only 16 rushing yards, but 148 through the air. So it's not been a bad effort from their offense one bit. And again, it's been encouraging signs of life here from Derek Carr. Much maligned, but he's playing some of his best football late. This was a good game from him. I mean, only 5 incompletions. Not bad. He has had some rough showings in there, though. People were calling for Jameis to take his spot. I mean, but they brought him in to try and win the division. And by golly, they're still in position. That is how the Saints are doing things. It is kind of crazy. If you look at like team building, right? These two teams are like at the very opposite ends of the spectrum and how they've built their team. Where the Rams are well known for like making these aggressive, savvy moves, making these big trades with first round picks, kind of going all in, trying to maximize their window. And, granted, they've drafted really well, and that's what's been keeping them relevant. Whereas you have the Saints, who, like, at least from an outsider's perspective, they seem to be very content with, like, just trying to sneak into the playoffs, contending for, like, that 7 seed, or maybe winning the division if it's a weak division. But they seem content with having a ceiling of, like, 9 wins based off some of the moves they've made recently and just delaying the inevitable with how they've handled their cap situation. And it's kind of ironic that they're both 7-7 right now, fighting for that playoff spot. But also, one team got a Super Bowl, and, well, I guess the Saints have a Super Bowl too, but that was a while ago. But the Rams went all in. They got their ring. And you know what? They're still good. If you go back and look at my my last video, I said most recent. It's been a while. But statistically speaking, it is my most recent. But the Super Bowl window one, I got a lot of comments saying that, oh, well, the Rams are going to be terrible for the next 20 years. And I honestly even understood that at the time. Like, I wasn't even going to disagree. And, like, 20 years is a lot. Like, one of the big points of the video was rebuilds happen quicker than you think if you draft well. But they aren't. They were bad for a year, and then they bounced back. So it's not even like the Rams are going to be paying this massive price for the next 20 years because they sold their soul for a Super Bowl. Like, no, they had a window. They acted on it. They maximized the few-year period that they had with the core that they had, and drafting as well as they have and staying good has kind of been icing on the cake. But I think you ask most people, like most Rams fans, I would say, if they would have like been bad again, they'd be like, yeah, I mean, that's the price you pay, but we got a ring. But they're good, so that's good too. Pearchamp asks, are there any best plays of the season that you can think of this year? And I see that oh, okay, I see a few in here. So maybe the punt return touchdown the Jets had on the Bills week 1. That one had me out of my seat. That was a great play. Russell's last touchdown on Washington. I'm trying to remember that one. Russell's last touchdown on Washington. That was what, week 2, right? Commanders, Broncos. And then Drew Lock's touchdowns on the Eagles. Yeah, that Drew Lock throw to, was it DK? That was sick. That was a good throw by Drew Lock too. Good for him, honestly. Good for him to get his moment. Those are great plays. I'd say you could throw the Russell Wilson touchdown. You could throw a few Russell Wilson touchdowns in there. You could throw in the one against the Bills to Cortland Sutton. You could throw in the one against the Vikings to Cortland Sutton, unfortunately. What are some other just crazy good plays? I mean, hey, honestly, how about Jake Elliott's kick against the Bills to force overtime? 61 yards in the rain and crappy weather outdoors. Like, no, it's not as crazy as like Russell Wilson's touchdowns or whatever, but that is probably one of the best plays of the year in my opinion too. Maybe a little biased, but here's a wacky play. It ended up mattering a lot in the scheme of the game. Jordan Addison's touchdown to close out the first half against the 49ers, where he rips the ball away and just goes for a score. That was crazy. And especially like the context of the game, Jordan Addison had the ball ripped away from him to start off the game for an interception. And then for him to get one back and get a touchdown right before halftime, give the Vikings a bit of cushion. That's got to be one of the better plays of the year. Tyreek, Tua's throw to Tyreek, week 1 against the Chargers. It's 3rd down, right? Dolphins need a touchdown. Tua under pressure, off platform, like doesn't even set his feet, just kind of throws it on the run. Very Aaron Rodgers-esque throw, honestly. Hits Tyreek, a deep ball in stride. Ends up connecting with Tyreek a few plays later in the end zone for a touchdown. That was maybe the best throw of Tua's career. Pearchamp says that was a good touchdown by Addison with the redemption that led to the win. Yeah. There's been a lot of good plays. And hopefully, we'll see a few more here as the season winds down. We could do a worst playlist too, and that could just be every Kadarius Toney target. Just every time he gets thrown at, something bad happens. Oh, man. What a season for him. I had him in one of my fantasy leagues. Whoopsies. 3rd and 6. Foster Moreau, first down. Good for him. He's had a rough year, everything considered. Getting diagnosed with cancer. Remember last time the Saints were on Thursday Night Football? He dropped what would have been the touchdown that would have won them the game, potentially. Here's what probably would have been the best play of the year had it counted, speaking of Kadarius Toney. The Travis Kelce lateral. That would have probably been play of the year. It still might be, just because it's so memorable and all the controversy that followed it and just how wild of a game that was. But if that play stood, that for sure would have been play of the year. Shaheed will get going. Top speed, 19 miles per hour. It's pretty fast. Usually the fastest ball carriers on the season, they're like what, high, like maybe around 20, 21 miles per hour usually, right? According to next gen stats. I wonder who the fastest tracked ball carrier ever is. Excuse me, I got the hiccups now. By next gen stats. Dang, Aaron Donald has 16 QB pressures versus double teams. Ooh. Man, I still have the hiccups. Need some water. It is impressive how my microphone can pick up me drinking my water. I've noticed that when I've like checked on the audio for some of my streams. It's like pretty far away from me. I mean, you can't see it obviously, and some of that is just with how the webcam is angled, but I put a little further away today because this microphone that I have, because the other one I use, I still use it for the voiceover for my videos. It's so weird. It works well for my videos, but it does not work well in OBS anymore. Oh, it's picked! It's picked off! There goes Jordan Fuller. Down to the 40. Rams get the ball back in Saints territory, and there's the first Derek Carr oopsie of the night. He was playing a great game up until that point, but a costly turnover. And maybe now the Rams start to run away with this one. He has a decent pocket. It closes in there at the end, but he just threw it into double coverage. Kirk Herbstreit is saying maybe he was confused by the defense there. Didn't know exactly what he was looking at. And yeah, Fuller has it the whole way. He's just lurking. It is an easy interception for him. First turnover on the game, yeah. Unless you count turnovers on downs, but those don't get filed away as an actual turnover. And now they'll do the end around to Puka. And there he goes. Big gain. They'd kind of been teasing that a little bit. They'd been doing a lot of jet motion with Puka, just dangling out there. And finally, in the middle of the third quarter, maybe when the Saints are like, all right, we've seen this so many times, like they're just going to do this or that, then they pull out the end around. Always something with these coaches, isn't there? There's always something. Stafford with a cool 9.1 yards per attempt right now, which is quite good. Now they'll fake it. There's Kupp again in open space. Ooh, that was a good tackle right there by Alontae Taylor. Otherwise, that might have been going for a lot more. Wow. So Sam Schwartzstein is talking right now about the Rams' use of motion, if you're watching Prime Vision, and how they've been able to use it to get a read on man or zone coverage. And that's something that Dolphins do a lot too with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I mean, every team does it. That's one of the reasons why you use motion. You know, motion is not exclusive to these coaches. Every single team incorporates it, but these coaches in particular use it more than anyone else. Kyren wasn't down there. He kept going. That clock keeps on ticking. But it's always good to see Kyren Williams back out there. It looked scary for a sec. Those head injuries are always iffy, but still running well. He'll probably get 100 yards again. Parachamp with another great question. Defensive Player of the Year candidates. Who do I think will win? TJ Watt, Khalil Mack, Deron Bland. It's a good race this year. There's a lot of good candidates. You could go Deron Bland, right? The big plays have just been just so fantastic. I mean, I don't know how else you can really describe it. NFL record for pick sixes in a season. I mean, that's crazy, right? TJ Watt is great as always. Khalil Mack, how about the Khalil Mack renaissance? I thought Khalil Mack was washed. He was cooked. He was finished. He was not that great last year, but man, he has come alive. TJ Watt back to leading the league in sacks per usual. You could throw Danielle Hunter in there, of course. How about Trey Hendrickson? Max Crosby, I gave him a shout out like 2 months ago on the Pigskin pregame saying I might vote for him. He's right there, and he's also maybe the best edge defender against the run too. And Kyren Williams is in for a touchdown. Touchdown, Kyren Williams, touchdown Rams. Here they come. About to be a 20-point game. I wonder if you go for 2 here to make it a 21-point game. You should, right? You gotta. Also, we got a new person in here, I believe. Osmodios says, a fellow ND. Yeah, I'm from Fargo. And I apologize if you've been in these streams before and I just don't remember you. But yeah, I am from Fargo. A fellow North Dakotan. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you in here. How about it, huh? Well, I've lived in Athens for these past few years. Athens, Georgia. Not Athens, Greece. Go to school. Well, I went to school. I graduated, but went to school at the University of Georgia. But I just graduated. Now I'm back home for the holidays. So yeah, back in Fargo. How about it, huh? Miles Garrett. Sorry, I'm just switching back and forth. That was a nice Kyren Williams touchdown for Pear Champ. You know what? Even though you're out of the fantasy playoffs, he's still playing hard for you, Pear Champ, right? That's the sign of a good coach, a good manager. Your players, they're still playing for pride. They're playing for the love of the game, right? Says, no, I haven't been in the stream, but I live in Fargo. Well, there you go. Look at that. Wow. First person from Fargo that I don't know that's been in here. Of course, I've got a few friends and family that pop in here from time to time, but look at that. Well, welcome to the stream, man. Always good to see a fellow North Dakotan, a fellow Fargo native in here. That's awesome. You a Bison fan? Oh, tough loss for the Bison last week, man. But you know what? It was a good run. And they got their new coach now. Tim Polasek is coming back. But yeah, that's crazy. Oh, small world. I wonder if my title enticed you to click on this. Hey, if so, it worked. But we're talking about the Defensive Player of the Year conversation right now. I mean, Micah Parsons, too. There's, like, no clear-cut favorite, which is tough. And I feel like a lot of the edge rushers might cancel themselves out because there are a lot of really good edge rushers. You could argue Roquan Smith, honestly, if you want to throw a linebacker in there with how good the Ravens defense has been, how good he's been. If I had to make a top 3 right now, I would probably say Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, and Roquan Smith would be my top 3 personally. I do like Deron Bland a lot. He has had a few rough games where he's been really burnt in coverage. That Seahawks Thursday night game jumps out. But, and as I've said a few times, that game was kind of an aberration. Like, he has not been a major liability in coverage consistently for the Cowboys. For the most part, he's been pretty good. And the big plays, they do mean so much. So I think he'll get All-Pro, though. I think he could get first-team All-Pro, which is a huge honor. But that would be my top 3 for DPOY right now. You could put him in any order you want. I would probably go back and forth between Myles Garrett and Max Crosby, I think. Max Crosby, the big argument you could make is he's doing it all by himself. He's got no help. Whereas Myles Garrett, he just means so much to this Browns team who is on the path to the playoffs. They're an elite defense, and he is the leader. And he's just been dominant. He has won them games, you know? So those would be my picks. But it's a good race. Good to see. So you're originally from Minot, but have lived in Fargo since 2015. So I've gone to a couple of games when I was at NDSU. And we have Mile Marker with the NDSU connection. That's right. Oh, that is just awesome. Bison. Horns up. Go Bison. Wow. Crazy. Oh, it's like a little Dakota reunion in here. Saints are now down 20. They did not go for two. I would have thought about going for two to make it a 21-point game. I mean, does it really matter? There's like 20 minutes left of game time in this, so. But who knows? You know what? If the Saints win by one, Sean McVay will regret this. Right on cue, Chris Olave, big play. No, I kid. I mean, the Rams probably have this one in the bag, but Kyren Williams, 90 yards. Says, I mean, you don't drink out an entire town in Texas and not be a fan. Good old Frisco. You know, I've actually never been to Frisco, which is crazy considering how many times NDSU has gone. But I've never made the trip down to Frisco. I would like to do that one day. I'm sure it's a fun atmosphere down there. Oh, the Bison Caravan every year. They just trek down to Frisco, play in Toyota Stadium, home of FC Dallas and the FCS Championship. Some good games played in Toyota Stadium. Some blowouts too, but oh. That championship game, 2014 against Illinois State, I believe it was. Crazy back and forth game. Probably my favorite Bison championship game. That was an insane game. I actually watched that one in Minneapolis. I was in town there, seeing family. Frisco's the drunkest I've ever been in the United States. Spoken like a true North Dakotan. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea who Kirkwood is. But that's crazy. Yeah, I've never been to Frisco. But I take it you have been there. I'm jealous, honestly. Sounds like a fun time. Oh, the FCS Championship. We'll see if SDSU can go back-to-back or not. They finally got the monkey off their back. Won their first title last year. We like the FCS on this channel. We support it. That SDSU running back is looking pretty good. He might get drafted. Not a lot doing for Kamara on the ground so far. Saints running game has not been really that great the whole year. I mean, how has Kamara been? I feel like I barely hear about Alvin Kamara anymore. 630 yards, less than 4 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns. He's 28. Wow. He's a lot older than I thought. But I mean, I was just about to say, like, he's actually kind of been around a while now. It just goes to show, like, how quickly running backs do fall off. And maybe it's harsh to say Alvin Kamara fell off, but, like, man, his prime was really his rookie contract. And then after that, slowed down a little bit. And then they just hit a wall. The wall will probably come for him soon, right? The wall came for Dalvin Cook this year. The wall came for Zeke last year. I'm shocked the wall hasn't come for Joe Mixon yet. You just have to beware of the wall. I'm shocked the wall hasn't come for Derrick Henry either, where they just fall off a cliff. Eventually the wall will come for CMC, but who knows? With the 49ers, I feel like they can delay the wall a little bit. I'm gonna coin that term, by the way. I'm sure people have used it before, but the wall. That's where a running back just sharply falls off. And it happens so sudden and abrupt these days. No catch, they're saying. Looked like Olave might have had it. They're going to say incomplete. It's 4th down. Malmarker says he's got problems. I'm assuming you're referring to Joe Mixon because, yes, he does have problems. It's honestly a little surprising he's still in the league. Or maybe you're referring to the Saints rushing attack, which they also have problems, but different types of problems. Well, Alvin Kamara's had some of his own problems too, but... And I see a good question here from Pear Champ. Get to that here after this 4th and 7. I'll really have to think about this one, actually. I like the way you worded that. And they throw short of the sticks, and what do you know? You throw short of the sticks on 4th down, you might not get it. Man, they were trusting Juwan there to try and break a few tackles, and he just couldn't. And the ball popped out a little bit. It's another turnover on down for the Saints. It was looking promising for them on offense early, but now they've been forced to play from behind, and instead of like taking field goals, they have to go for it on 4th and 7, and it just has not boded well for them. Now we might start to approach blowout territory here in the fourth quarter. I mean, the Rams aren't probably going to be slinging the ball across the yard at this point. They'll just be running it. How much more do you run it with Kyren Williams, to be honest? Being up 20, seeing him get hurt earlier in the game. Do you just roll with Ronnie Rivers a little bit more now? I don't know. Kyron's got 16 carries. If I were the coach, and I'm not, obviously, and I'm not a coach, but I would consider maybe just, I don't know, getting the other backs in a little bit. Keep your star running back. Yeah, I said it. Star running. He's playing like a star at least. But yeah, I would keep him fresh. I have a nice comment here from Osmodios too. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. But we'll get to Pair Champs here first, and then we'll get into that because you make an excellent point. But Pair Champ says, who would you say is the most valuable Super Bowl MVP in NFL history? Nick Foles versus the Patriots, Tom Brady versus the Falcons, Terry Bradshaw versus the Cowboys in 1979. That's a deep cut right there. Let me go look at Terry Bradshaw's stats from the Cowboys in 1979. All right. Old reliable Pro Football Reference. Let's do this. Oh, it was a shootout. My goodness. Terry Bradshaw slinging the rock. See, okay, I like the way you say valuable, right? Because it's one thing to have a great performance, right? Like Malcolm Smith, for example. He was obviously awesome in that Seahawks win over the Broncos in Super Bowl 48, was it? 48 or 47. But it was a blowout, and they would have probably won that game without him. So I would say he's not like the most valuable. He had a great performance, but not the most valuable. What I like about this, right, is a close game, 4-point game. And Terry Bradshaw threw for 4 of their 5 touchdowns. Yeah, he was kind of on one, hitting some big plays. I mean, who were the receivers that were going off for him? It looked like big plays downfield. Lynn Swann went crazy again. Big game Lynn Swann, Hall of Fame wide receiver. Oh yeah, we talked about him in my last video a little bit. Terry's a good shout though. I did not know he had a game like that in the Super Bowl, you know. And some people see Terry Bradshaw's stats or box scores and they think, "Oh, he wasn't really that good," but it was just such a different game back then, you know. 4,000-yard passing seasons were rare back then. And would you look at that? The Rams have Ronnie Rivers in the game. Maybe I should be a coach. They also get a flag for holding, it looks like, but wow. Sean McVay is still the youngest coach? That is shocking. With how many young guys have been hired, that's surprising. I guess all the young guys that are getting hired are just like Sean McVay's friends, and he's just like the youngest of all of them. So he's younger than Mike McDaniel. He's younger than KOC, which surprises me. He's younger than Matt LaFleur. I wonder what the average age of the coach is now. I feel like that has gone down significantly. There's Ronnie Rivers again. But yeah, Tom Brady versus the Falcons. I mean, we all know the story of that game, right? 28-3. Brady went crazy. James White also went crazy and could have maybe had a case for Super Bowl MVP, but you had to get it to Brady, right? Nick Foles with an all-time performance against the Patriots. Yeah, that was a good one. That was another close game, right? Where they needed him to go crazy to win that game. I'm trying to think of some other good examples. I mean, shoot, I don't know. Cooper Kupp was pretty important in the Rams Super Bowl win, which they just showed their banner up there. He had the game-winning touchdown. But I like those. I'll have to keep thinking maybe. And Osmodios says, though I have to say it's pretty sad that almost all the NFL drafts from NDSU have flopped hard. Yeah, I mean, Carson Wentz had a good run for a few years, but he really fell off. Trey Lance has not really panned out. Easton Stick had a rough game. Granted, there was no expectations for him, really. He's the backup, but yeah. I mean, there's been a few guys that have had, like, long careers at least. Like, some of you Packers fans might remember this name, Billy Turner. Like, he's not like a great player by any means, but he's been in the league for a while. Marcus Williams, the other Marcus Williams, played for the Jets for a little bit, I believe. Not to be confused with the Marcus Williams on the Ravens and who was on the Saints. But he had a solid career. He had 1 year where he had a decent amount of interceptions. Yeah, Jets and then Texans, Bears, and Tampa. Interesting. Well, next time I play Immaculate Grid, I'll remember that. Yeah, he had 6 picks his second year. That's a pretty good amount. Never like a star player or anything, but he had a nice career. I mean, if you want to go back to like Craig Dahl, he hung around for a while. Joe Mays. Oh yeah, okay. I always get his name wrong. I feel so bad. Like I feel like I should know his name. It's Cody Mauch, right? I thought it was Cody Mock for the longest time, but I think it's Cody Mauch or Mauch. I don't. One of those. But yeah, he has shown some potential with the Bucks. Cordell Volson, I believe. Yeah, he's on the Bengals. He's starting. Titans have Dylan Radon starting for them. So they've had some solid offensive linemen, but no like star outside of Carson Wentz for like a year. But also it's an FCS school, so I guess what do you expect? But Phil Hansen, if you want to go way back, Phil Hansen had a nice career. I actually met Phil Hansen when I was a kid. He had a football camp. He was on the Bills in the 90s, I believe, right? Let's pull up his Pro Football Reference. But he had a football camp that he held here in Fargo. And he actually asked a trivia question. He was like, who's the all-time leader in sacks for the Bills? Because he played for the Bills. And everyone was like guessing him. And I raised my hand. Little 10-year-old doctor knew that it was Bruce Smith. And it had to be Bruce Smith. Because Bruce Smith is the all-time leader for sacks in the NFL. And so I was like, it's Bruce Smith. And he was very impressed that I knew that. That is a true story. My mom was there for that. Out of Oaks, North Dakota, which is where my grandma is from. Isn't that crazy? Like, I just love seeing, like, someone from Oaks make it to the NFL. I've been to Oaks a few times. But, yeah, he did a solid career. He had 10 sacks 1 year. He had 8 sacks. He was on some good Bills teams. But he was like the NDSU player for a while, you know. Phil Hansen. That's a throwback. About to get started in the fourth quarter here. They're doing a little thing in the booth. I don't know what else to call it, I guess. It's just guys talking in the booth. You think I would know after my journalism degree and sports media certificate. I'm just calling it a thing in the booth. Nothing wrong with that, though. They're still talking. It's been a big break here between quarters. I'm sure they're spitting facts, though. I like Sam Schwartzstein. He does a good job with these Prime Vision broadcasts. I think he was on Mina Kimes' show not that long ago too. It was some. I think it was Mina's show. I haven't listened to it yet, but good for Sam getting some clout this year. I'll be honest. I did not know who he was before the Prime Vision broadcast, but he's done a good job. Your cousin had a good career with the Vikings. Oh, so we've got someone that's related to a Vikings player, and there goes Puka down the sideline. Who is your cousin, if you mind me asking? And you know what, if like, you know, that's my family, that's personal, I totally respect that. But I have to ask, who's your cousin? I'm curious. I'll leave that up to you if you want to answer that or not. But, cousin had a good career with the Vikings. How many yards does Puka have now? 148. Goodness. He might actually break Jamar Chase. Jim Kleinsasser. Wow. That's crazy. He went to UND too. So not NDSU, but UND. Wow. Jim Kleinsasser. You know what's crazy? I was at Jim Kleinsasser's last ever NFL game. It was week 17 against the Bears in 2011. Joe Webb was the starting quarterback. Jim Kleinsasser was on the cover of the program. That was my first ever Vikings game, actually. We're going to pull up Jim Kleinsasser here because that is one heck of a shout out. He did have a good career with the Vikings. He was there for a while. Great blocking tight end. Carrington, North Dakota. Went to UND. Second round pick. I did not know that, actually. But yeah, he was with the Vikings for a minute. Very good career. Beloved Viking. Wow. Your dad's cousin is his aunt. That's insane. We have a relative of Jim Kleinsasser, Vikings legend, in the chat right now. That is awesome. That is sweet. We might fall down a North Dakota NFL rabbit hole here later in honor of being back in the Dakotas and having a Fargonian. That's not something people say from Fargo. For everyone else that's watching that might not be from Fargo. But a Fargo native. Jim Kleinsasser. Wow. They're showing Puka Nakua's stats right now. Most receiving yards through first 15 games. And he's like third all time. So like, hey, you know what? That's still relation though. That's pretty cool that you have like some sort of connection with him. I'm curious, have you ever met him before? That is crazy. Tyler! Welcome to the stream, Tyler. Good to see you in here. How you doing? He says, OMG Eric 2011. How do you remember? Dude, I do have like kind of a photographic memory. It applies to only like certain things. Like I'll forget stuff obviously, but no, you'd be shocked at some of the stuff I remember. Especially when it comes to like football and the Vikings, because that's just how my brain is wired, I guess. But yeah, it was, I want to say it was New Year's Day actually. I'm going to go look that up now. But yeah, me and my family, we went to a Vikings game at the Metrodome, and it was against the Bears, and we lost. I want to say it was like 17-9 or something like that. It was an ugly game. It was just Joe Webb running around, throwing to no one. Adrian Peterson was hurt, so he didn't play. And the Vikings were bad that year. They won like 3 games, I think. But Cup can't get the first down there. They'll get some yards, though. But yeah. Met a few times, most recently at his aunt and my godfather husband's funeral. Oh, I'm sorry for your loss. But wow, so you've met Jim Kleinsasser. That's insane. I have not met Jim Kleinsasser, believe it or not. But let's see. I want to say this game was on New Year's Day. And I want to say the final score was like 17-9. Let me pull up the schedule here. Yep, New Year's Day. Oh, 17-13. I'm a fraud. Close, but this was my first ever Vikings game right here. And that is how I just do, Tyler. Like, how do I remember? Sometimes I just do. Am I a Viking genius? I guess you could say that. That's one way to put it. I've been called a lot worse. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, this was a game, to say the least. Oh, it was a pick 6. That's awesome. It was Joe Webb versus Josh McCown. That was my first ever NFL game. Oh, that's right. That was Christian Ponder's rookie year. He was injured off and on the whole year, and he played a little bit, but crazy. Oh, I know KTO. Not personally, obviously, but I've seen some of their videos before. Pearchamp says, I saw 2 videos by YouTuber of KTO that compared how successful the #1 offense versus defense has been since 2011 in terms of success to Super Bowls, which found that the #1 defense is more successful. Hey, you know what they say, right? Defense wins championships. I guess the one that immediately comes to mind would have been that 2013 Super Bowl. Broncos Seahawks. Right. Broncos had the #1 offense, top scoring offense of all time. Just Historic. Peyton Manning breaks the passing touchdown record. They're rolling over everyone. Scored more points than anyone ever. They go up against the number one defense in Seattle, and Seattle thumps them. They absolutely thump them. So there's one right there you can chalk up to the defense, right? And isn't there like a streak of like the number one offense has not won the Super Bowl in however many years, right? Maybe. Interesting. So defense does win championships is what you're saying. I don't hate that. That's the game I love right there. Classic football. I might have to watch that one before bed. Good old KTO. Venice. As in Venice Beach? Is that a thing in California? I'm trying to brush up on my LA geography here. Yeah, it is. Okay, Al Michaels confirmed it. Look at that. I know my beaches. Kind of. We had was it Santa Monica pop up in GeoGuessr. When we played GeoGuessr after the Vikings Bears game Monday night a few weeks ago. Now in the fourth quarter. It's going to take a miracle at this point for the Saints to pull it out, you know? It's easy to break a Vikings fan heart though. 98. Yeah. I wasn't alive for 98, and even if I was, I would have probably not remembered it cuz I'd have been a little baby, but I know the story very, very well. The one kick he misses all year just so happened to be a gimme that would have sent them to the Super Bowl. And to go off that trend of number one offenses, the Vikings, that 98 Vikings team set what was at the time the record for the most points scored in a year. 15-1 with Randy Moss and Chris Carter and Randall Cunningham and Robert Smith and Leroy Horde and a great offensive line, right? They were just rolling over everyone. So you were there for 98. So you were there for the ride, man. I mean, what was it like? You said it was heart-wrenching. Ancient. Hey, nothing ancient about 88. Nothing ancient at all. That's crazy. So you'd have been 10 years old. Oh, so that was probably like one of your first years of being a Vikings fan, no? Oh, and to have it go like that. I mean, hey, I said this earlier. The first year that I really got into the Vikings was 2009, and we all know what happened that year, right? That was the first year I watched every Vikings game. And so I wasn't there for 98, and I can't relate on that level. I completely understand being a kid and just having the Vikings destroy you, and that is your introduction to the history of the Vikings. I mean, I was still getting into football. I didn't even know that the Vikings had never won a Super Bowl at that point, right? The Vikings go 12-4 with Brett Favre. Our team is loaded. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could get used to this. Being a Vikings fan is awesome. Like, of course we're going to win the Super Bowl. We're so good. Oh, this isn't Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl. Great call right there by Michael. Oh, bless PA's soul, man. If there's anyone that deserves to see a Vikings Super Bowl, it's Paul Allen. That man has been through the trenches. Paul Allen. Some great calls. How about versus the Cardinals back in 2002, I think it was. Final game of the regular season. Vikings lose to the Cardinals, don't make the playoffs on a last-second throw. No! No! The Cardinals have knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs. There are Vikings players crying on the field. PA. Mile Marker says, well, guys, nice to see a Nodak chat. Hee hee. It's late here and work tomorrow. Saints let me down. Sigh. Good show. Thanks all. Thanks for tuning in, Mile Marker. Good to see you in here as always. Sorry about the Saints. This might set up a potential spicy Rams-Lions game, but we'll see. There's a lot of season left. But thank you for tuning in as always. Hope you have a good night. Have a good day at work tomorrow. And Osmodio says, yeah, 09 is the reason I despise the Saints with the white-hot intensity of 1 billion suns. And I said this earlier. The most notable matchup here between the Saints and Rams, right, was 5 years ago, the pass interference that wasn't. And I don't know. Sometimes things just have a way of working themselves out, don't they? I thought that that was an awesome ending to the game and well deserved, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I don't have as much against the Saints now because Sean Payton isn't there, but oh, the Vikings and Saints have had their history. It wasn't even just '09. I mean, the Minneapolis Miracle, 2019, the wild card game, 2020, them running up the score on us with Alvin Kamara on Christmas Day. I mean, there was some real hatred between these two organizations. Happy holidays to you too, Mile Marker. Michael says, listening to him call the Colts game last year was also a treat. Yeah, he was so mad. You could just tell when PA gets angry. His voice changes a little bit, and he's like, and the Colts punter is going to punt again, and he's terrible, and it's another bad punt, and why is he even on the team? He's letting out all his anger on the Vikings, just taking it out on the Colts punter. He just gets so intense. Or like, I loved his call of the Josh Allen fumble near the goal line, right? Where it's like, oh, like we couldn't even tell if the Vikings recovered it. We thought it was a safety. He's like, that's a safety. Give it to us. Come on, give it to us. He sounds like a fan. Some people don't like that about him, but as a Vikings fan, I enjoy PA a lot. I love how they play his calls of touchdowns like at US Bank. Like right after the Vikings score, they'll put it over the loudspeaker, which I love. That video of Diggs crying right after the Minneapolis Miracle, where like he's like doing the interview with ESPN right after, he starts to tear up and he goes like this and he just walks away. I don't know if it was actually connected or not, or maybe just it was like a coincidence, but he starts tearing up right after they start playing PA's call over the speakers, which is, yeah. But meanwhile, the Saints are kind of driving. We'll see if they score or not, but I'm loving these conversations. Well, when it was revealed about the Saints targeting to injure Favre in the Minneapolis Miracle, I literally cried laughing at that. Well, here's a fun little fact for you that a lot of people here might know, but you might not. And I'm always thrilled to tell this story. Yeah, the Minneapolis Miracle, I was there. I was at that game. I was down near the end zone where Diggs scored. I was on the other end, but I was at the end zone that he scored at, just on the other side. Unironically, I say this truly, genuinely, one of the greatest days of my life. Just something I will remember forever. And the fact that I got to experience that with my dad, we got to go to that game together. That was a special day. But yeah, truly one of the greatest days of my life was the Minneapolis Miracle. And the fact that I got to be there at that game was just awesome. Oh, we don't need to talk about what happens next. No one, at this point, no one cares. Philly fans will always try and like, you still have hearing. I do, somehow. It was loud in there. I'm surprised I still have a voice, too. I mean, I just was going bananas, hugging strangers. I mean, yeah. Touchdown Saints. Yay. It took a lot of time to score there. It took like almost 6 minutes to score, but they did score. That's good. They get a touchdown drive. It's something. I mean, it's not over, but it's close to over. It almost is over. It more or less is over, but yeah. Greatest sporting event I've ever been to. And Osmodio says, I hate Philly fans more than I do the team. I get that, honestly. No, I Philly fans have a reputation that they like to uphold sometimes. I totally get that. I don't know if you're a big NBA guy. I'm not like huge into the NBA. I'm an extreme casual. I don't even watch many games. I just get like notifications. But the Timberwolves played the Sixers last night. Timberwolves are pretty good this year, but they lost to the Sixers, and it's like, oh, we lost to Philly again. Oh no. Here they come. And Joel Embiid went crazy, but different sport. Football is completely different from basketball. Michael says, on a completely different note, I'm jealous of Gabe. He got to see one hell of a hockey game tonight. Yeah, he did. How did that end up going? I know he was at the Lightning game. Let's take a look and see what exactly happened. But yeah, he said that in chat earlier, and he had it up on his Instagram story. NHL is another league I'm kind of a casual at. I'm like, oh, the Wild are cool. They lose in the first round a lot, but they're cool. I actually don't even know how the Wild are really doing this year, but where did it go? Oh, snap. Yeah, it was a good game. 5-4 over Vegas. Look at that. It was a late goal, too. Well, I'm sure the atmosphere is good there. That's good. Vegas is the defending champs, right? See, that's how much of a casual I am. Where it's like, I think Vegas won the Stanley Cup last year, right? Yeah. The Wild are bad this year. Yeah, so I've heard. They've been kind of disappointing. Minnesota sports. What can you do? Parachamp says, I saw a funny quote about Super Bowl performance. Defense wins championships early to mid-2000s. Offense wins championships today. Neither wins championships. 07 and 2011 Giants. And to be fair to those Giants teams, like, their defenses were pretty good. They weren't like the 2000 Ravens by any means, but they had some good players. They had some good pass rushers, but they by no means were like this juggernaut team. They were probably some of the quote-unquote worst teams to win the Super Bowl. But you know what? They got it done. Against the Patriots both times, no less. And Osmodios said, the Carolina Panthers are better in football than the Wild are in hockey this year. Is that so? I find that a little hard to believe because the Panthers are bad. There's no way, right? I know the Wild have been struggling, but they're not like the worst team in the league, are they? No, but we're down there. We are pretty far down there. Yikes. And like the Senators have played 3 fewer games than us. All right. The Blackhawks look rough. Don't they have like Connor Bedard, right? Is that his name? He was like the #1 overall pick. Maybe they have a future, but Edmonton's doing poorly. Weren't they supposed to be nice? And Michael's right. No one is worse than the Pistons. I do know this about the NBA. The people of Detroit are starving for Wingstop. They need their Wingstop right now, and they're never going to get it. Did the Pistons play today? Oh, we're beating the Lakers right now. Cool. See, that's more or less the extent of my Timberwolves fandom until the playoffs come. I see like, oh, we're beating the Lakers. Cool. Let's keep doing that. I don't know if the Pistons played. I think... Oh, no, they did. They lost again. Was that 26 straight? They probably are the worst team in sports right now. Parachamp says, also the 2018 Chiefs are the last team to win a Super Bowl with the highest scoring offense. Really? All right. That is surprising. Well, it would have been 2019, wouldn't it have been? Because 2018... they lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. 2019, they were 5th in offense, but they were close in 2018. 35.3 points per game. That's insane. That's got to be one of the highest of all time, right? That is insane. And then, because Mahomes they probably would have been the highest scoring offense, though, this year if Mahomes didn't get hurt for 4 games. He was hurt against the Vikings, and they still beat us. But yeah, that is... I feel like, yeah, it has been a while since we've seen top-scoring offense win the Super Bowl. Detroit has a little hope with the Lions, at least. Yeah, I mean, the Lions will make the playoffs. They'll get a home playoff game. They do have someone to cheer for right now. It's been a fun year for Detroit, and... some people might call them frauds and whatever. Maybe they're not like a Super Bowl caliber team. But, I mean, if you get in the playoffs, weird stuff happens. We were literally just talking about like the 07 and 2011 Giants, right? Like, weird stuff can happen. And it just, I mean, believe me, I think everyone in this chat knows this, right? It's just good to make the playoffs sometimes. It's just good to be a little relevant and have something to take interest in, you know? So, It is something. But for real, trying to tell someone who is the strongest team in the NFL right now this year based on who beat who looks like that Always Sunny in Philadelphia conspiracy meme. Oh yeah, I mean it you can't do that, right? Because things just change so much throughout the week and every game is different. Teams are going to have bad games and slip up and stuff. You can't this isn't like college football where you have to go like, well, they have more quality wins. Like that's what I like about the NFL is like there's 32 teams. The criteria is very clear for how to get into the playoffs, and once you do, anything can happen. But yeah, it could be like, well, you could say like, well, the Vikings, we beat the Niners, so watch out for us. But any given Sunday or Monday in that case. But Kyron is still out there. They took him out for a little bit. He's back out there. They're gonna get that run called back for holding though. Is Kyron over 100 at this point? No, not yet. Trying to keep that streak alive. Not that it really matters, but he's gonna hit 1,000. I think he has hit 1,000 yards now. Good for him. 1,000-yard rusher, Kyron Williams. Remember that in 4 years when you do Sporkle quizzes. I've not done Sporkle in a while on here. It is. I think I've only done a Sporkle stream once, and that was while I was watching the draft. Maybe, depending on what nights I have open over break, we're gonna have some fun with some of these streams. With the video coming out tomorrow, and just with me graduating now, I really feel like 2024 is the year of the doctor. We're going to get back into the groove of things a little bit. I have not been nearly as active on Twitter, which I'm going to try and hopefully change that now. I just, you juggle school and work and, there's a lot, but it'll be nice to take a step back, take a break a little bit, and I'm going to try and, get deep into my bag here with Dr. Pigskin because I'm hoping to pick up some more positive momentum here, but I'm liking how the streams are turning out. We've got a nice little community that we're building right here. And it's very tight-knit and personable, and I'm glad I get to interact with you guys like in such an intimate level, I can just have conversations on here. Broncos got 70 scored on them, yeah. But then they beat the number 2 strongest. I mean, yeah, like things change so quickly. The Broncos looked like one of the worst defenses of all time for like the first 4 weeks, and then they completely turned it around. I don't know if any of you guys in here watch Brett Coleman, but he made a great video on how the Broncos have turned their defense around in the middle of the season. And it's been one of the stories of the year. I mean, they're in the playoff race after such a poor showing early on in the year. And he says, but it's still funny to see all the Chiefs fans still crying about that offsides call. Yeah, there's a lot of upset people over that call. It was the right call. I mean, he was offsides. It's tough, but emotions run hot, Parachamp says, congrats on graduating. That's awesome. Thank you. And what was your major, by the way? So I was a journalism major with a sports media certificate. So journalism, just covers all topics. It's just like teaching like the ideas of like how to be a good writer, reporter, stuff like that. And you can like delve into certain niches. Like I took a lot of video journalism classes, which although they focus more on like putting together video packages like you'd see on the news, it has helped me a lot with this channel with like how to use Premiere Pro, how to edit, how to get good audio quality, stuff like that. So, you can dive into different niches, but there are certain classes within the journalism school that you have to take. Like communications law was one of them. You need to know what you can and can't do and how to not get in trouble with your writing, with sourcing and stuff like that. How to be a good ethical journalist. And then with the sports media certificate, it's pretty much like a minor, but it's a program. You don't actually need to be in the journalism school to do it, but it's hyper focused on sports media. And again, you kind of find your own niche. You take a few intro classes and then you can dive into writing, or there's a social media class, which I actually kind of wish that I took, but this was pre-Dr. Pigskin when I was in the other class that I chose. You could pick between one or the other, which I focused more on broadcasting, which has helped, of course, because, you have to be comfortable on camera, stuff like that. And it's just good experience to get, my first job might be like an anchor for all we know, right? So I'm keeping my options open, but yeah, that's what we're looking at. I actually came into college wanting to do play by play, and I did a fair share of play by play a few years ago back in Fargo. I would like go home over the summer and I'd work with a company. I'd do play by play for like high school sports, and it was a lot of fun. You know, I enjoy play by play, but I think I enjoy more creative stuff more. I like I like doing creative projects. I like writing. I like creating, and you can't do that as much with broadcasting. And I like how like something like this kind of marries the best of both worlds, where I get to be myself on camera, you know, and kind of like yeah, but also like there's creative elements to it too. And you know, it lets me work on what I want to, right? I love the NFL. I love get diving into more niche topics and stuff like that. I love doing these streams and just hanging out and watching games. So, yeah. Oh my, we need Professor Lawson on the stream one day. That would be awesome. I love Professor Lawson. He was my sports source professor. I love him. Love all the UGA sports media staff. That's right. We have a fellow UGA sports media alum in here, Michael. That's actually how we met through DGK, which was a like broadcast journalism organization. And we actually originally met at orientation, but we didn't know each other back then. Like we just kind of crossed paths randomly. And then like a few months into our freshman year, like, oh shoot, wait, like we met at orientation. But yeah, that's my man Michael, one of my good friends from UGA. And shout out Professor Lawson. Tyler says he graduated from the greatest journalism school in the South. You know, some do say that. It is a very strong program, I will say. If anyone here is watching this and they're interested in going into journalism school, or maybe they know someone that does, I cannot recommend UGA enough. They do a great job. But yeah, that's my long-winded way of... Oh my goodness! Touchdown Saints! A.T. Perry! Hold on. Did y'all see that? Hold on a sec. Been so busy talking about UGA. What just happened? Go for two, right? Go for two. Make it an 8-point game. He just chucked it deep and he caught it. Didn't A.T. Perry make that insane catch against the Vikings too with Jameis Winston at quarterback? What's up with A.T. Perry making insane plays? All right, this is big right here. The Saints need this 2-point conversion. Otherwise, it's still a 2-score game. And they got it! It's Olave! It's a 1-score game! Oh, hang on a second. Oh no, do the Saints have no timeouts? That's crazy. Well, there's still almost 4 minutes left, so there's plenty of time. But, oh my goodness. And Tyler, you're correct. A.T. Perry is a rookie, if I'm not mistaken. And he has a pretty impressive highlight reel already. That was his only catch of the game so far. Where is he from? Where did he go to school? Wake Forest. Okay, that name sounded familiar. He is 6'5". That's probably why he's catching so many people on their head. Like, yeah. Saints are not going down so easily. No, they are not, Pear Champ. No, they are not. Michael says, speaking of journalism schools, the Syracuse investigative journalism students need to do a piece on Syracuse getting whooped in the Boca Raton Bowl. Was that a thing? I've not been paying attention to bowl season so far. Who did they lose to? The Boca Raton Bowl. Oh, they are currently getting whooped. Oh my gosh. 38-0 over against South Florida. Yikers. Syracuse. I was trained subliminally, not even subliminally, but as a kid to not like Syracuse because my dad went to Georgetown, and Syracuse and Georgetown are huge rivals in basketball. And Syracuse was like a swear word around this house. Syracuse and Duke. uh, but yeah, good old Syracuse. Going for the onside kick by the Saints. Not like, I'm going to be honest, I missed that. That was actually crazy. I mean, I guess they're thinking like, I don't know what they're thinking with that actually, because the Rams only need a field goal to get it back to 2 scores, and you don't have any timeouts, so you can't stop the clock. Yeah, okay, that's not a good call. Because now they only need a few first downs and the game is over. Like they can just kick the field goal and it's over, right? They're already almost in field goal range, and that clock is going to keep running. They're going to run it again. Yeah, and the recovery rate is so low on onside kicks. I mean, Puka breaks the tackle and he gets the first down and he stays in bounds. I mean, what does that say about Dennis Allen's faith in his defense? That you're not going to kick it deep. Yeah, you don't have any timeouts, but there's 4 minutes left. If you kick it deep, then you have to force them to get a few more first downs before they can end the game. Now, the game is pretty much over, more or less at this point. With that first down and Puka staying in bounds, that clock is going to continue to run. And they're more or less, they could try a field goal from here probably at this point, right? Like, where are they at on the field? They'll get it down to the 2-minute warning before it stops again. And then that onside kick probably just lost them the game. And they still might have lost, right? Because they have not done a great job of stopping this Rams offense all day long. But, I mean, even if they stop them 2 more times, they're just going to kick a field goal, and there's going to be like how much time left? And it's a 2-score game. That was truly puzzling. Poor mile marker. Saints have turned it up since he left. Yeah. They made it interesting, you know. Did they really onside kicked that? That is insane. Yeah. There was 3:53 left in the game. Now, I'm not going to sit down here and try and do the math. But now it was just so much easier for them to get into field goal range. I guess what they were thinking is, since we don't have any timeouts, right? If they get a few first downs, regardless of where they are on the field, the game is probably over. They can just run out the clock. We might as well take that like 8% chance we have of recovering the onside kick. And then, according to their math, like, if they get 2 first downs, regardless, the game is over based off just not being able to stop the clock. So I guess that's the justification. All right, now that I've talked myself through that, that makes a little bit more sense. But it also makes it a lot, I don't know. They probably weren't winning this game either way, but yeah. I at least slightly understand a little bit more. I was about to like actually lose my mind. I was like, what is Dennis Allen doing? But like, it's good to like talk through that, because sometimes I'll be like watching a game and it's like, wait, like, I don't know. If I disagree with something, usually it should be like 50-50. It should not be like Dr. Pigskin knows better. I should not know better than an NFL coach. That would be concerning. Tyler asks, predictions for Washington versus Texas and Alabama versus Michigan. Washington versus Texas, I don't have as strong of an opinion on. My guess is we're going to see a lot of points. 2 great offenses. I love this Washington offense. I love Michael Penix, those great wide receivers that they have. I think I'm rooting for Washington in that game. I'm gonna take the Huskies in a close one. I think we're gonna see both teams score in the 30s, though. I hope so. I hope for points in that one. Alabama, Michigan. I think Alabama wins. I don't know. I've said this before to some of my friends. I think I might have even said it on stream. But, and maybe this is unfair, because Michigan has been great the past few years. I struggle to take Michigan seriously because a few years ago they played UGA in the semifinals, the Orange Bowl, right? And this was supposed to be the close matchup. Oh, these two teams are so close. UGA was coming off a humbling loss to Alabama in the SEC championship game. Like, watch out for Michigan. They finally beat Ohio State. This might be their year. UGA dog walked them. Michigan did not look like they belonged on the field. And Aiden Hutchinson has turned into a pretty good player in the NFL. But I remember watching that game. I was like, oh, man, he does not belong out here. UGA just killed them. And then they lose to TCU next year. Like, so we'll see. Again, this is a good Michigan team. I'm not even saying like Michigan is bad, but fair or not, I'm hesitant to trust them a little bit because of, I don't know. But we'll see. But they have beat Ohio State a few times in a row now, and that's got to count for something. So we'll see. But give me Alabama versus Washington for the final. That's my prediction. Not a college football expert by any means, but I will be watching the playoffs probably. And Pearchamp asks, who's going to remain the last head coach in the NFC South? Arthur Smith, Todd Bowles, Dennis Allen, or a mystery fourth option, whoever the Panthers hire? Nah, between the three that are left, who's going to be the last one standing? I feel like Todd Bowles, right? Because the Buccaneers have played above expectations this year, and they are probably the favorites to make the playoffs after tonight's result. Arthur Smith should be gone. I think he will be gone. Henry, friend of the channel, big Falcons fan, said he wasn't sure that the Falcons would let go of Arthur Smith because of how loyal Arthur Blank is, and I get that. Arthur Blank and the Falcons do tend to hold on to their coaches for a while. But I'm sorry, this year has just been inexcusable. Losing that Panthers game is a fireable offense. If they don't make the playoffs, he should be gone, and I think he will be at this point. I feel like the fans are fed up with him. The organization is probably ready to move on. So I feel like he's gone. Dennis Allen might be gone if the Saints... I don't know, because the Saints are just kind of content with where they're at. They might hold on to Dennis Allen, barring a disaster. But if they lose out, if they go like 7-10, he might be gone. I don't know. I feel like Todd Bowles is the safest, though, for sure. Todd Bowles has earned himself some extra time because he was kind of on the hot seat, too, after last year. But he seems like a good guy. He's always had good defenses. So that is my prediction. Are the Rams won't even have to kick it probably, right? They can just take 2 more seconds off the clock and then let it run out. I mean, it's over. This is a big win for the Rams. Huge for their playoff hopes. My Rams agenda's looking real good these days, isn't it? Oh. What can I say, man? I love the Rams. And the Rams love me back. Yep. Deep knee. And they're just going to wait. And, yep. Game over. Rams win. Taking a look at the playoff race here. By virtue of playing more games, they will move into the 6th seed, which would see them right now play the Lions if the season ended today. Vikings drop to 7. We're hanging on for dear life right now. Whew, whew, whew. It's like that scene in Ice Age, right? Sid is like clinging to the cliff and you can like see like his claws like scratch across as he's trying not to fall off. That's the Vikings right now in the playoff picture. But the Rams move up to the 6th seed. They have some huge insurance. And remember, they have the tiebreaker now over Seattle and New Orleans. The only team that's close to them that they don't have the tiebreaker off of is the Packers. But the Packers losing 2 in a row has been a big deal for them. I think they're going to get in. I like their chances to get in now. They're 8-7. They probably just need to win one between the Giants and the 49ers to get in, right? 9 wins should probably get them there. If they can just take care of business against the Giants on New Year's Eve, they're probably in. If not, it might come down to the Niners game, which we'll see about that. But if they don't beat the Giants, I mean, then you kind of did that to yourself. They're right there now. I feel like the playoff picture is becoming more clear. I feel pretty good about Philly and LA making the playoffs. It is going to be a race probably between the Vikings, the Seahawks, the Saints, Falcons, and Panthers. Wow, not the Panthers. Most definitely not the Panthers. The Packers. Vikings and Packers do play each other, which is a very important big game. What does the Saints' remaining schedule look like? They probably need to win out. They need to win their last two against the Bucs and Falcons. If they did, they would probably win the division, no? So if they get in, they'll have earned it. They'll probably get in by winning the division. And I guess then the Bucs might be a wild card team depending on how they do. And the Falcons are still somehow there. I mean, they still could get in. They got the Colts. Kind of a tough game. The Bears. And then the Saints to end the season. I don't know. I'm close to sticking a fork in the Falcons. They might be done. But we'll see. Michael says, as a Steelers fan, we will do our best to help you with Seattle. Please. We need it. You know what I said? This has been my motto ever since that 49ers game. Let's go be frauds. You know what? We're going to get into the playoffs as the 7 seed. We're going to beat Philly on a fluky, lucky game where we get like a game-winning field goal. Philly's going to be so mad, but I don't care. That is my dream, honestly, is to get into the playoffs as the 7 seed, play Philly as the 2 seed, beat them, and that's it, dude. We could lose 50-0 to the 49ers next week. I would not care. That would be so sweet. Oh. Seahawks have Titans, Steelers, and Cardinals. Ooh. They got through the tough part of their schedule, because my goodness. Ravens, and then Commanders, but then Rams, Niners, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles. Good Lord. That Eagles win was massive. That Eagles win might get them into the playoffs. Titans, Steelers, Cardinals. I think they'll probably drop one of these. Oh, what's their division record? It might come down to division record then. Which, the Vikings, they're 2-1 and they have to play the Lions twice. Still. If we wouldn't have lost that freaking Bears game, man. I don't think we'll fully know who these last 2 wildcard teams are going to be. Or last wildcard team. I don't think we'll know who the 7 seed is probably until the final day, I would say. The Seahawks are 1-4 in the division. Oh my gosh, we would have the tiebreaker. Wait. And they have how many divisional games left? Because we already have 2 divisional wins. Oh, but then we'd be tied. So, okay. So, I mean, we have only divisional games left, right? So if we win 1, that helps. What if we got in at 8-9? That would be awesome. Oh, man. Have I checked out New York Times Playoff Machine website? I have not. I've used ESPN's a lot before. You know what? Before we wrap up, let's do that. We'll try the New York Times one. I have not tried that one before. I've always done ESPN's. Shout out Pear Champ. Nice recommendation here. Let's try it out. Am I not signed in? Okay, so this shows like the percentage of what each team can do. Okay. So like the Ravens have already clinched. These 2 teams are already eliminated. Oh, look at that. 51% chance to make it. It's going to be nervy. I truly do hope we make it, man. I'm so excited for this Vikings-Lions game on Christmas Eve. If we win, I think we're going to make the playoffs. If we lose, I think we won't. I honestly think this game will decide our season. Even though like we could lose and then win the next two. I don't know, man. It's at home. This is our best shot. This is our best shot right here. The winter whiteout. We need some more Christmas Eve magic like last year. Oh. Let's pull up the ESPN playoff machine real quick here. I'll pick the games, see what the playoff would look like. And then we're going to wrap up. Falcons and Colts game does have a lot of playoff implications. The Colts are fighting too. I mean, the Colts might make the playoffs, which is crazy. Good for Shane Steichen. All right, look at that. They already have it updated. Look at that. All right, Bengals, Steelers. Who we liking in here? Oh, Steelers at home versus the Bengals. Since he's red hot. Sorry, Michael. I'm going to go Bengals here. Bills, I feel pretty confident picking. Texans, you know, sketchy situation here with CJ Stroud. I don't know if he's going to play or not. We're going to go Browns here. We're not going to put too much thought into these. We're just going to pick and see what happens, kind of. Sure, Commanders. I don't want to pick the Seahawks, but I will. Colts, Packers. We'll go Niners, Eagles, Chiefs. We'll try and do mostly chalk here, I would say. Broncos, Cowboys, Bears, Jags. Nah, we're going to give them one, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens if the Vikings win one and then lose the other two. All right. I'm just going to keep on rolling here. We'll give the Falcons the win there. No, not the Raiders. We'll save that one. Eagles. Bucks. We're just zooming through. You know what? In KOC we trust. In Mike Tomlin we trust. Let's rock with the Steelers here. Big win for Pittsburgh. Bengals, Chiefs. Broncos. I'm going to do it, man. I don't know. I have such a bad feeling about this game, to be honest. It's because it's prime time. Is there a world where we could get in at 8 and 9? We'll see. Well, nope. Probably not, unless like everyone loses or something. But we'll say the Bengals win to make things weird. Yeah, we would have to win this game, wouldn't we? Yep. Oh, I don't like that. We'll say Texans. Stroud will be back by then. What would it look like if this is how it played out? I'm picking the Bills in this one. I honestly think the Bills are going to win the division. That's another one of my takes. All right. Denver would get in. Oh, okay. So just by quickly going through, this is what the playoffs would look like. Rematch from last year. Oh, the Packers would get in. I could see it. I mean, I could. If they win that Vikings game, I could see it. And then I would pick the Rams in this game. Honest to goodness. I really would. Niners bye. That checks out. Ravens bye. That checks out. Chiefs still somehow get the 2 seed with all they've been through. Ooh, this would be a fun one. I would like this. And then I think the Bills would win this. All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, a successful stream from Fargo. And here's to many more, hopefully, as I'll be here for about a week and a half before I go back to Georgia for a few days. And then off to Mexico for a week. That'll be fun. But thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Big win for the Rams. Nice little stream. I think I'm going to save that QB ranking quiz for later. That deserves its own stream, so we're going to give it its own stream sometime. But big win for the Rams. Good stream tonight. Love you guys all. Thank you again for tuning in. Had some fun Dakota talk, some fun ball talk. But until next time, catch y'all later. The doctor is out. Thank you, Parachamp.